Natural 2. Alright, we're doing a giveaway at the end of the fucking session. Alright. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
That poked a hole in my sheet of paper.
Probably deserved.
That's so fitting for what you rolled.
Woo! 3 pieces of paper. Alrighty. It's a heavy dice. Holy crap! Protect reproductive rights? That can't be right. Dr. Randy, how important are reproductive rights to a woman's bodily autonomy?
Not only women.
All the way important?
All the way.
I don't know why it's a question.
Thank you, actual doctor. Dr. Randy.
It irritates me to no end that the government wants to be involved with what I do to my patients.
Cool, so...
Which is a great lead-in.
Which is a fantastic lead-in.
I prefer do for my patients. Do to my patients sounds a little...
Look,
You know.
I was running out of oxygen. It was fewer letters.
So, the link above is for the National Network of Abortion Funds. So, if you have any extra money to donate that way, they have different funds based on each state. You can find either your local one or donate to, like, Alabama because they need it badly.
Especially because Icilius is trapped in another plane and he can't help you anymore.
He can't carry them out.
He can't.
He can't do it for him.
If you have a uterus, it would behoove you, or if you know someone with one, or someone that got it ripped out, and but they had one in the past. Right there. My mom used to have a uterus. No longer.
Same, actually.
Yeah.
You used to live in there.
I lived in there for a bit. Yep. I smelled like cigarette smoke when I came out.
Oh, God.
That's funny. Funny if you know how my mom is.
Yeah.
Chimney. Just a chimney.
Yep.
That explains a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I don't know how the smoke got in there.
I was gonna say.
I don't know if it was like, maybe it was, I don't know. Like, it was like a, What's the name of that one? Pepper Potts. What's her name?
Gwyneth Paltrow.
It was a Gwyneth Paltrow cigarette.
Oh,
Instead of putting
Yeah.
things healthy up your vagina, she's smoking with her vagina.
Gwyneth Paltrow doesn't put healthy things up her vagina either.
There are
Steaming it is not. Anyway, so if you
Healthy.
That explains your brain.
regardless.
Yeah. It explains a lot more than that.
So that's not the point. The point is reproductive rights are important, and we sponsor them. Other than that, we are actually doing a giveaway. That wasn't a joke. It is a starter set for D&D for new players. If you've never played before, it's fucking free. I'll send it to you in the mail. We'll do that at the end of the session, so stick around. What else? Of course, we have the merch store and stuff. If you're like, fuck abortions, we have T-shirts.
We have Icilius. No, we have Icilius merch?
No, we don't have
Okay,
Icilius
good.
merch. He
You
was.
Can't say fuck
There's no guarantee he comes back, so we'll see what happens.
portions
Yeah.
of Icilius
The
merch.
plan
I
is
need
to
two
get him
portions.
back.
The plan, but
He'll be a
Which
corpse.
should make an Icilius coat hanger, though.
No.
I am definitely for that. Much safer than your standard coat hanger. So, without further ado, I guess we could jump right in. So last we left off, Jake forgot his ambient music
Rip.
and then started it. So last we left off, the four of you, accompanied by two of your allies, Kasdan and Vel Curio, after meeting with the Dragon Lords and signing a peace treaty, of which you have your copy, you were invited to the capital dragon city of Drossos, a city that rests high atop the Black Peaks, and is governed by Sylvain, the Lord of all dragons, the White Dragon. On your way, in a small convoy set to guard you and bring you to the capital, you encountered some frost giants, which are some of the only beings around, and other giant-esque types of folks, I guess. They're the only people that are known to really challenge the authority of the dragons in the area. You dispatched of them, and a hero from the ranks of the Dragonborn militia was born. A nameless NPC who sniped a fucking
That's like the
high
first time
level-
that's ever
a
happened.
high-level giant from afar because he had like 3 hit points. But it worked out. So we gather you all kind of after that. They have rounded up their dead, and you have all packed in, and you have begun your long trek to Drossos. Yet again, you only have about a day and a half left of the journey, and we could skip past it unless you'd like anything to happen. In the meantime,
I think we.
it's sort of like that.
Do you want to decide who's looking for what when we go to the library?
Yeah, we wrote down our topics.
So we have
So.
to decide who's looking
To
for
recap, what we had was the Ninth Star, ancient Illithid writings / history, the Feared One, religious, prophetic, apocalyptic stuff about the stars is what we had written down so far. So, I don't know who wants to do
Okay.
what.
How many topics do we have here? That's 4, right?
Yeah.
I'll take the religious because I have the most experience.
Okay. I'll do the Ninth Star.
I pretty much deciphered all that
Illithid?
Illithid stuff that we had, so
Okay.
I think I have
So.
every letter.
Agnir gets the
The
feared one.
which is what it was called in one of the poems we got, one of the writings of the Illithid.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to do on the roughly day and a half? Once you get past a certain point, by the end of the trek on this day, you're kind of past the giant territory. We mentioned that briefly last session, but Kazan and Vel are here.
It takes 1.5 days to get where we are from the fight we just had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now you're at half a day,
Okay.
basically noonish.
Okay.
Because it happened early in the morning.
Got it.
Right around sunrise.
So we'll get there like tomorrow evening-ish.
Yeah, roughly. Would be about dinner time. You'd probably be hungry about then. So, but there are provisions in the cart, and it's pretty fine. You've been eating some of it. Basically, just meats for the most part. Not a lot of vegetables. Not a lot for you to eat, but you have your own provisions and stuff if you wanted to not pick at their kind of stuff. They usually do like large, pretty much any sort of bovine type of animal. That's pretty much what dragon. I mean, they have a huge diet, of course, which is often why there's only one ancient dragon, because they eat tons of food. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say since I usually try to abstain from eating meat unless necessary, I'm going to pick at rations before I touch anything else.
Okay. Sounds good. And nothing else in the next day and a half. You do have, of course, another dragon with you if you'd like to have any conversations. He continues to fail at his disadvantage rolls.
Oh God.
I want to continue to try and act casual,
Yeah,
not that he knows what I look like now anyway, but...
Kinder the Shiver is his name, if you don't remember that.
At some point,
For backstory, it is the dragon that you guys tricked into making think Alenia was dead months and months ago, and has not, since there's been so many physical changes between all of you, there hasn't been,
That dead girl didn't have wings.
different. All humans look the same, whatever.
Not just that, you've ascended to a new level of fucking angelhood.
Yeah.
So, set demi-angel.
At some point, I want to kind of just ask him and probe about how he feels about Sylvain in general, like how he feels about serving him.
How you asking? How do you feel about Sylvain in general?
No, I guess I say... I start probably by saying, like, how long have you served Sylvain?
Again, he's kind of at the front part where it's almost like a large circular padded area, kind of like a giant bed. Something you'd think Austin Powers might have if he had one of these carts, but it's not for sex. It's just because he's a big dragon. And it's a lounging area. Kind of cranes his neck as you speak. I've been working for him for some time.
How do you feel he is, and this is just between us, you know? Yeah.
Of course.
How do you feel he is as a leader of the dragon of your people in general?
You've met them, right?
Yeah, briefly.
Who would you pick?
Oh boy, I guess that's a good point. I don't know them super personally or how they actually treat those around them, though. They're very intense, but that seems to be kind of your people's thing, so...
Doesn't seem to understand what you mean by intense.
Okay.
There's a cultural disconnect here.
It just...
Where they're to them, they're clearly the dominant species.
I guess it just seems to me you have a particular insight into the way he runs things, considering your close proximity to him.
Of course.
I just wasn't sure, being as old as he is, and I was wondering, you know, how others perhaps perceive him, and if he's considered a good leader of the dragons.
He's been leading for over 800 years. I'd say he's done a good job. You don't usually stay in power that long if you don't.
Fair enough. It seems like he definitely keeps things relatively peaceful amongst the dragons, at least.
He's the first dragon to join the council.
Well, is there anything... I guess that's not something you would share with me anyway. Eh.
Probably not.
Anyway, thanks. And I kind of walk away awkwardly.
You walk 10 feet away.
Yes.
Barely. You sit down, and Kasdan looks over and goes, "You did your best." Vel is kind of looking out the window. Could have taken him.
By them, you mean who I think you mean?
Yeah. Then he just sort of looks back out the window.
What a fucking idiot.
Let's just try not to die.
All right.
I would
So
much like not to do that.
the day ends, travel begins. Anything you want to do in the last half day before you get there?
Nothing in particular.
No. I just keep checking in daily on Jordan's fucking status whenever I go to bed. And
Oh yeah, he's fine. It wavers between. Well, he was drunk, but he hasn't been drunk since that one time, the day before, yesterday.
That'd be a funny way to find out he has a drinking problem.
Yeah.
God, he's just drunk all
all
the
the
time.
time.
It seems like he took a day off today. Probably because hungover. And then by the time you wake up in the morning of this last day, back to work. By the time you wake up, it seems that there's just good feelings but slight fatigue. So maybe he woke up early after taking a day off, and knowing Jordan, maybe he felt like a sack of shit for not doing anything for a whole day.
So he's overcompensating the next day. Yeah.
So he probably got up a little bit early and started helping more building. Yeah, other than that, nobody else wants to do anything?
No.
Alright. So, day goes by. You arrive in the evening. And for a long time it had been like this sort of rolling tundra. And near the end of the day, you start to see the peaks very quickly start to get sharp and imposing. And looking at the sides, because there's not a front view here, you can see kind of a mountain range that curls almost toward you like this. So if you look on either side, it's these little black peaks poking out of this white hill. And so you get to the end, and Kinder, all right, we get out from here. And he sort of taps on the top, and you can hear the kobold run around, and the doors open. And you step out, and you look, and very quickly, it's very obvious where you're headed. There is a very large peak of mountain. Have any of you been in front of the Rocky Mountains before in real life?
Nope.
Okay, it's an extremely intimidating feeling. It's kind of like looking at Mordor. They're so high up, thousands of feet, and you have this sort of, you almost get reverse vertigo looking up. Like it's strange to see something actually reach that high, much higher than any of the structures, which for you, this version of the world is pretty flat. Not very. It's more horizontal than vertical. This is more vertical than you've ever seen. These are the highest peaks on the planet, and at a certain point, they go so high up, you can only see a mile up. It passes your vision. You can't even, as far as like your focus, like go past. There's no clouds though. Seems to be too cold to really have enough cloud. And go ahead and make a perception check. Just normal though, because you're probably the only one that could possibly see anything.
25?
25. That's the exact DC to see anything. At the very, the furthest point you can see, as it sort of slopes away from you, you see like a glint of it's usually rocky, and at a certain point there's not even snow up there because nothing can condense to create the snow because it goes so high. There's like a little glint, like maybe the stone changes texture or makes it up, but it's far away. In front of you is a stone and ice bridge. With your 25, no one else has to roll. You can also see that while it is stone, it is a little bit thinner at some points than the cart, and you can tell that most people that come here can fly, mostly dragons, but there are dragonborn and stuff, and kobolds, so it's about 10 feet instead of the 15 feet needed for the cart. It seems to be, with your 25, it seems to be buttressed by artificially created magical ice that sort of builds up on the sides to reinforce this seemingly natural bridge, and there's a chasm. It goes down probably 1,000 feet, so as high as it is, it goes down into the earth pretty far, and looking down in there, you see, because you can see easily that far, you see a lot of bones. This might be the trash. There's a you don't know how thick that layer of bones is, but it almost looks like a bone river running around the front, like in a half shape around the front of this, 1,000 feet down. As you begin walking and you're led by the remaining dragonborn, the kobold, there's some guards that were stationed around some other peaks to your left and right. More like hills, I guess, but they're kind of sharp. And there seems to be, as you look behind you, there seems to be many structures lining this back, made of stone, and again, this artificial ice that seems to... And it's cold here. Is anybody wearing anything particularly warm right now?
I don't think we purchased winter clothes ever.
Okay.
So
yeah, no, it's cold. You're kind of okay. It's past freezing. You're not gonna want to stay out here very long. But Egnir, I need you to make me a Constitution save since you come from a swamp.
Cocked. 12.
12. Okay. All right. You can feel this is getting to your bones fast. It's not good. But behind you there are kobolds living in these 10 to 15 foot tall structures built into the sides of this small ridge behind you. Thousands of them. All sorts of different colors of kobold, but mostly white and silver. And they just sort of look out, and there seems to be like a exterior slum type city right here. And as you look more around the edge here, it seems that there's some minor commerce occurring, but it doesn't have the hustle and bustle, probably because it's so damn cold, of a normal city. You continue walking forward, and you cross this bridge. It is windy. All of you are high level enough at this point to handle yourself. You've gone through worse. You fought a tempest. You're fine. It's not particularly slippery. It's mostly stony top. And there is a staircase. Go and roll an intelligence check.
19.
There's a staircase cut into the actual stone, and you estimate about 3,052 steps.
Of course.
In your Rain Man toothpicks in the air math. So everyone's gonna be walking up about 3,000 steps. I'm gonna need everyone to roll a Constitution save.
Can I just fly?
You can try.
Sure.
Do you want to fly? No one else is flying. Not the silver dragon.
Not
either.
even the
They're all
dragon?
walking. You can try if you want to. You can do whatever you want.
Okay, I'll
Just letting
walk.
you know, context cues. Nobody else is attempting, and
I won't fly.
there's about
then.
3 people around you that can. So,
17.
I'm
What are
gonna
we
make
doing?
rolls for Kasdan and Vel, or you can make rolls for Kasdan and Vel.
What is the save?
Constitution save.
Oh, that's good.
As you walk up 3,000 steps.
I got an 18.
18.
Kasdan.
22.
Okay.
17.
17. Egg.
Yikes. Kasdan gets fucking 2.
Okay.
Poor
Agneer
little
and Vel.
twink.
Agneer got a 9, Bell got a 19.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
so Kasdan and Agneer, as about halfway up these stairs, you can just hear. It's both hard work and extremely thin air mixed with intense cold. You both get 1 level of exhaustion.
Ooh.
And you can see at the top, and I believe Agneer can see too. Isn't your passive perception in like 19?
20.
20, yeah. The two of you can see at the top of these stairs. Once you get about halfway up, it curves forward, and then there's just like an archway that you can see the top of. Go ahead and roll perception, since you're the only one that can really see detail.
Normal
that far.
or
Yeah, you can. It's within your range.
27.
Okay, yeah. So at the top of this archway, you can see what looks to be bisected. So there seems to be 2 doors, and those seem to be steel and covered in like spikes that go outward, and covered in this frost, and they seem to be shut. So as you head up, and that's the only feature. Otherwise, it looks like a mountain. So there's stairs and a big ass door, and judging by like as you guys kind of keep going, you're gonna reach the top of the stairs. I'm gonna need those 2 to make Constitution saves again, since you all passed. What was your scores again?
17.
22.
22 and
Mine was
18.
19.
And
Or 18. Sorry, you're right.
And Vel's was 19. Okay, so you don't have to make a second one. So the only 2 that need to are the ones that failed.
Yikes.
10.
20 that time.
Okay, you're both fine. Agneer is just barely fine. You can see not used to this at
I
all.
need to get in shape.
It's not necessarily out of shape. It's just like he comes from a low water swamp. Like that is both humid, highly oxygenated, and hot. Like
This is the exact
this is
opposite.
quite literally it's
We're both
borderline
technically
a
from the
wintry
north.
desert.
But
I lived
There's
in
not a
it.
lot of snow.
I lived in thin air.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Higher than this. If I remember correctly, yeah. Much higher.
Yeah, higher than this, but not higher than the peak.
Yeah.
By the time you get to the door, you're pretty close. You guys have been traveling steadily upward for 3
Also
days,
nice
so
to walking that much.
yeah. But you're all fine for the most part. 2 of you have 1 level of exhaustion, not too bad.
Yeah.
And you get up to the top, and this doorway is about 60 feet tall. It's humongous. There are 2 very large dragonborn, both white, in full armor. They're standing there silently with glaives. And when you walk up, Kinder gives them a nod, and they each grab these large chains that are attached to the front, and with one arm they pull hard, and it makes this, and then some of the frost shatters off the front and shakes loose. And they pull these large spiked black steel doors open with a, And inside, you see deep cut halls with long 30-foot banners extending from the ceiling that seem to... they're like blue with silver designs on the side. Go ahead and... What languages do you speak?
Common, Orin, and Elvish.
Elvish and Celestial and Infernal? And Abyssal.
I speak Draconic, if that's relevant. And Elvish Automaton.
What do you...
Giant is the only new one I bring to the table.
Okay. Wait, what do you speak?
Common, Elvish, Giant.
Common, Orin, and Elvish.
No.
Seriously, out of all of those?
Yeah. You're very close. Like,
Primordial?
some things in Orin, like...
Because that's what I'm in the process of learning.
Primordial?
Yeah.
You kind of pick up a little bit through some Orin, so you think it's probably Primordial. Those are old. Those are very old. You'd expect it to be Draconic, and there are Draconic writings around that label different things. There seems to be a huge bustling city in here, because as you look out, you see immediately thousands of different types of dragon people. Dragonborn, Dragonkin, there are guard drakes, there are people walking their guard drakes, there are wormlings, there are dragons as big as Kinder and bigger, there are kobolds. You are surrounded suddenly, and you are the only people that aren't dragon related in this entire area, all 6 of you. And there seems to be many looks, but Kinder is in front of you and starts just walking. Along the sides, it looks like a street, like a 50-foot wide street. And on the left and right, there are archways every 20 feet or so, marked by pillars. And on top of them, it is written in Draconic and not Primordial. And you see, and you read your Draconic, different stores. Stores, inns, specifically, you notice a lot of language pertaining to the other dragon houses. Not for humans. Not for anything non-draconic, it seems. Even the menus on some of the, like, you walk by and there's like street food, and it smells like kind of like a hamburger place in here a little bit, mixed with sort of that. Has anyone ever smelled a lizard?
Mm-hmm. Wait, what?
They have a smell. It's not like bad.
Like a live lizard or
like a live lizard. Have you ever held a lizard? They leave a smell on you. And it's not bad. It's just like a very distinct.
Okay.
It's almost like dusty. So there's this very weird smell. It doesn't smell stagnant though. There's a crispness to this light but cool air, and it is cool in here still. Probably in the high 50s. There are fires, and you keep being led on. There's a small area where you get up on some stairways, and there's a platform. And then, as you travel this platform, all of this is made out of stone. There seems to be, it goes up and then it splits off into several ways, and once you get to this area, it kind of opens up, and you can see that up into this mountain, they've carved circular areas of this massive city, almost like burrows inside of a mountain. Burrows like New York, not burrows like a hole, although both apply. And it is massive in here. Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
15.
Okay, based on the population density that you've seen here, that you can kind of eyeball, you're guessing upwards of 500,000.
Wow. Okay.
Of various life forms in here. I mean, it is a bustling city. And you are led to the left. take a left, and you begin ascending more stairs. And at this point, Kinder leans back and nods to the other Dragonborn and Kobold that was following. And as you go left, they head right with the bodies of the dead. He leads you forward. He says, "Come this way. We'll take you to the apartment." And you trek like this up this staircase for a good 5 minutes on this staircase again. It's a fuckload of stairs. And it's very odd because you don't see anyone around here flying at all. Considering most of the people have wings. Even some of the kobolds have wings, and they're not using them. After another 5 minutes, you get up to the top, and it seems to be a very residential area. You see many doors carved in. They're still in this archways. It almost looks like a kind of a cathedral, the way the architecture is designed here. And in Draconic, there is a row of doorways, about 5 of them, and they say visitor on them, and visitor 1, visitor 2, visitor 3. You're number 3, and walks over, and there's a guard there, another Dragonborn. Nods, says nothing, hands a key over to Kinder. Kinder grabs it.
I take it and put it on my ring of many keys.
Alright, you have a ring of many keys.
It's the first time I've had an opportunity
There you
to
go.
use a prop.
There you go. And... Alright. You can stay here for a while. I realize the trek was intense on a couple of you. There's no flying here. We respect the mountain by traversing it. Those who cannot are too weak to be here, so don't do it. Some things to go over. You may have seen markets. Only dragonkin may conduct commerce within Drossos, and the city only takes silver, platinum, or cut diamonds. So don't flash your gold around to try to get favors. You can pay someone for a service if you'd like, but you can't conduct commerce in the stores. These quarters are provided to you for the duration of your stay. I have not been told how long you are to stay here. It's indefinite. You may only travel between these quarters and the library. The librarian will be by soon to show you the way there. And you may only go to the library under his supervision. Any use of magic is strictly monitored, and you will be under constant surveillance. And he looks up and points out, there's a scry above your door, and he motions you to open the door.
I take the key out, unlock it, and do so.
He motions right here, and on the inside there's another scry, and he motions at the back, there's a scry at the back, and you imagine there's probably more than that.
Okay.
If you need anything, just ask aloud. We'll hear you.
Well, that's not
And
off-putting.
when it will be brought. It's not supposed to not be.
Yeah.
Lord Sylvain is busy, but he has alerted me and the guards that he will entertain an audience with you during your stay, if you so wish. But please make it important if you need that. Other than that, the librarian will be around soon. His name is Bavio.
Alright, thank you for showing us here.
Indeed. Have a good night.
You too.
He walks away. Back down the stairs. Alright, so when you walk into the apartment itself, it's looks very comfortable. It seems to be made for non-dragon people, or at least people of reasonable heights, instead of 7 to 8 foot tall dragonborn. There's not like a kitchenette or anything, but there are rooms with beds. There's 8 bedrooms. Way more than you need by 2, I guess.
Got a suite.
You do. You have a suite. There's a living area in the front with circular. There's a circular sort of sectional couch. So there's 2 basically crescent moons, and in the center there's an ovular table that seems to have refreshments on it, and various fruits, things that don't seem to grow here, and dried meats, cheeses, other things, and they seem to be kept in containers that look cold, just from, like, you can see a little bit of vapor coming off, so probably magically imbued, like refrigerated jars or something. There are several desks, mostly at the back, looking out the window. There are 2, and then there are 2 at the front, all with chairs. There's no books or anything in here. And then there's a balcony out back, outside that window. There's a single. Okay. So, you have a little bit of time in here.
We should, I guess, get more of a specific for the illithid, at least, other than just like illithid, whatever we have.
Illithid history and writings is all we have. So
Yeah.
illithid history and writings in regard to the end times, perhaps, or in regard to...
Or even the illithid writings about the feared one. Even something
Sure.
like that.
The end times?
Illithid prophecies?
Like religion?
Eh,
Do they have religion?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
you don't have, end times don't necessarily have to be about...
I suppose it just sounded religious.
It's fair. Yeah, maybe something more like illithid.
I'm gonna start going at some of that cheese and dried meats, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting
Can't
this.
resist a cheese
Oh,
platter.
Yeah, I need some.
A lot of red meats. Very nice. Seem to be salted, seasoned well. You don't quite know what animal it's from. The cheese is very nice. They have a couple varieties. Some nutty, buttery ones, some more acidic ones, some kind of like hard cheddar-ish thing. They have red wine. They don't seem to have anything fizzy. And they have what seems to be some of the best water you've ever had in your life.
What do you mean the best water?
Oh, it's just so good.
It just tastes like
It's
refreshing.
just
and...
so fucking refreshing.
Okay.
Like, it's kind of, yeah, what was that, there was some movie where they just keep drinking the water or something because it had cucumbers in it. Well, maybe I'm thinking The Office? I don't remember.
That was on Better Call Saul, I know. He
Better
was
Call
drinking
Saul,
the
very
cucumber
similar,
water.
yeah. Where it's just like so good. You like kind of keep going back. You've never felt the need to go back to water in a way like it's like it just does it for. And yeah, all of you, if you try it, feel like a very similar like, oh yeah, refreshed.
I wonder if they get the water from the mountain, from like the ice, and it's like
Glacial.
somehow... Yeah.
Could be glacial.
Some kind
I've
of
never had
mountain.
anything like it. It's like with the water boy's like glowing blue flask of water.
Yeah, this Eskimo
MJ
water.
secret
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
MJ's secret stuff. Yeah, it's
Yep.
just like that. All of you are now level 25.
Sweet, campaign's done. Let's see
There
it.
you go. Yeah, do you want to do anything in here? As you pop open the bedroom doors, very nice, king size beds, very plush, warm, which is not typical for the rest of this. There doesn't seem to be a fireplace in here.
Doesn't seem to be.
But it's like a, it's still cool. It's like high 50s, low 60s. It's not like the worst. It's just it's good snuggling weather.
No, I'm good.
Uh-oh. Oh,
What?
Andy disappeared for a second.
Randy's here.
So,
I forgot it was Memorial Day.
Yeah,
For a
I
second, I
heard
thought there was
fireworks.
gunshots.
I
or
know, me
something.
too.
I was like,
I was like, yeah, someone's dying.
we're covered by bricks right now. We're fine.
No.
Firework shoots into the studio. We're dead.
A firework wouldn't
If
kill
it was
all
a big
of us.
mortar and it exploded right here,
That would be. It would bounce off the
we'd have to
window.
make deck saves.
I hate you.
Back to D&D. So,
Dude, knows it. Your nose is the worst right now.
Anything you wanna? Oh, you got a whistly? I heard it across this.
That wasn't me. I'm not even breathing.
No,
right
it
now.
is.
That whistle was definitely you. I don't know if there's other ones. It's okay. Only one half of my one nostril works, so.
I think that's happening to me too.
Yeah, he's got squeaks right now.
Anyway.
Get that fixed.
So, nothing. You don't want to do anything.
I don't know
You don't
what
have
to
to.
do. I don't
You-
want to step on anybody's
You don't have
cultural
to.
sensibilities here.
And they're very obvious scries too.
Yeah.
You pass your hands through them, and
I wonder if
Vel doesn't like it.
I wonder if they. Here's what I would do if I was designing a horrifying security system like this. And I know I look at the scrying. I know you can hear me. It's no offense. You do the obvious scries, but then you also have not obvious ones in other places, so you think you're safe.
They probably already did
I look
that.
at the scry
Do you
again.
want to make a perception check?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I have a feeling that that's probably happening.
20.
Nope.
Okay.
They're too confident to have to hide them.
Well, that doesn't mean they're not there. It just means you didn't see them.
They're perhaps very, very good. Anyway.
I know they said we couldn't, like, buy things, or we could pay for services. I wish I could just buy a cloak. It's so cold.
There's probably...
The beds are lush, and they look warm.
Just wrap yourself in a comforter.
I was gonna say, get like
I know,
the
but I
thing
mean, like,
from
for the
bed.
trip back. We gotta go
You could
through
just
all
take
that
the
again.
blanket off and...
Just wear
Just
it.
make your own
like,
cloak.
leave with it.
Well, don't steal. It's not shampoo.
Have you ever- I
That's
was
what
gonna
I'm
say.
saying.
Some people steal comforters
we
from
could
hotels.
probably take the soap, though.
What I'm saying is I wonder if they'd let me purchase a cloak for the way back.
Maybe. I don't know.
You could ask. They are listening
want-
and watching.
Do
Yeah,
we have a
but-
cloak?
Or
Wait,
cloaks?
do we have
Cloak?
6 cloaks?
Some warm.
For the shot.
Can't hurt.
I
That
go and
was
answer
fast.
the door. Are there 6?
It's a big bag. Like a leather bag.
What fantastic, horrifying Orwellian service.
Who's Orwell?
Never mind.
It's a play. Yeah, there are cloaks in there.
Nice. Gonna throw one of those on.
Those are the...
It helps a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's...
Are they
so
are they
quick.
like shit cloaks? Are they nice
No, they're
cloaks?
decent. They're not great.
The fact that they
They didn't
have
give you
one-
their best cloaks.
Is
They
it
gave
like-
you, it looks like military standard issue cloaks.
I was gonna
They're
ask
all
if-
white, and there's a fur line at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not like a hood because their heads aren't the same.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to be they're shorter, so probably for like a big kobold or a small maybe dragonkin, half dragon maybe. And way too big for you, but you could, I don't know.
Cut it up.
Kaz didn't like a mom says, I could hem that for you.
Wait,
it.
do you do like
I made,
clothing work?
well, before this, I made my own armor.
Oh,
Do you want to fix
It's
it?
That
actually
got
really handy.
destroyed.
You want to fix it?
I don't have, it's more of a joke. I don't have a knitting kit with me.
I'm sure if you just said that, they would bring a
Do we
knitting
have
kit.
a string and needle?
Timing it. To see how
I don't
long
think
takes.
it worked. I think maybe it did. Huh? Walks over. Little tin. Yeah, I can fix it! And he opens it up, and it's a spool of, like, decent string, a few different needles, and a thimble. I don't know where they got this. Bring it here. He sort of puts it on the middle, and he takes the next 15 minutes to kind of, like, hem it up for you, and does a pretty good job. What's his sleight of hand bonus? Like
What a
15
good
or some
boy.
shit.
10.
28, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Nice. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So now it's not dragging, you don't look like an infant.
Or me in big person clothes.
Yeah, it's a little bit warmer.
You mean in
Probably-
any
it brings it up
place?
to a nice, comfortable, like, livable... They're not magic or anything, they're just nice cloaks that you can kind of Keep your body heat in. An hour goes by, nothing.
Okay.
You want to do anything?
Eat more
Eat
cheese.
some fruit and stuff.
Sure, but another hour goes by and that shit's gone. You guys are just like bored eating, like, oh my god. Val is over. He's kind of looking at the balcony. All of you keep looking at the balcony like you want to open it, but it's so fucking cold.
Yeah.
Like that would just, all the heat would leave the room.
Can I
if
just
you
look
opened
out the
it.
balcony and see what's up?
Sure, go ahead and make a perception check.
28.
Sure.
See all of it.
There's just
Yeah, you
slaves
look
or
out,
something.
endless, like past the horizon. There seems to be more peaks, all of which are shorter than where you're standing. So it looks like what would otherwise be a pretty decent mountain. Like it would take you quite a while to get up it. So it's like little, very sharp hills, and you do see that sort of moat of bone. Goes in a crescent and it terminates past your sight of vision. It might be all the way around.
At least it's a beautiful view while we wait.
Yeah, beautiful view of all the bones.
And the mountains.
Gorgeous.
The
It is
mountains
kind
are
of pretty.
nice.
You're above the clouds, and off in the distance, like on the left side, because that's where it valleys out. On the right side, it keeps going. Like there's just mountains for
If you just
miles.
take your hand and you cover up the bottom, it is kind of pretty.
Yeah. There's clouds off in the distance to your left. You can't see any green from here, though. It's desolate.
I'm just gonna take time to go over my illithid decipherings that I have. That
Okay,
way
go
I
to
can...
an intelligence check.
Oh, that's actually really good. 19.
Okay, cool. All right, so you think you kind of got them down. You know that you can't take you in a brief discussion. You can't really take anything in there with you,
Yeah.
so you would be able to reference them. So you're kind of like pop quizzing yourself, and you're like, okay.
Just write out the alphabet. Can we make flashcards?
Pretty much made like homemade illithid flashcards. Just
Go to the door.
well, we didn't ask for anything, so I think this is it.
Unless they have
Probably.
flashcards. Open it.
You get handed flashcards. No, I'm
Here's
kidding.
a pack of cards.
So in front of you, you see a very tall, like 7 foot tall, kind of lithe white dragonborn that has you know how dragons in like Japanese culture sort of have those whiskers.
Yeah.
He's got several of those that kind of hang down.
The Mushu.
It's kind of like a
mustache.
mushu. It's
Yeah.
not hair. It's like almost tendrily like thingies. Wearing silver robes with black and blue trim and the sash around the center. His left eye is glossy white and it doesn't have a pupil. His right eye is black with a it's almost pure black, but in the back of it, like when the light catches it from the window across, it almost has like blue in the back of it. Sort of like a cat eye has a reflective back to it. It's very interesting. Stands there with his hands. Welcome
Oh, thank you.
to Drossos. I am Bavio, gentle mind. Come with me to the library.
Alright,
And he starts to turn and walk.
just follow him.
Okay. Locking the door behind you.
Yeah,
Okay.
can you spell his name real quick?
Bayvio, gentle mind.
Bavio.
Bavio.
Bavio. Sorry. My
He
bad.
said it out loud. And so did Kinder.
Sorry. Now I just really want cheese and dried meats.
Yeah, I just want one of those like party
Just-
platters with like the little
He'll
salami.
bring cheese and dried meats next time. Ow! What the fuck? You ever had a behind your ear?
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
Yes.
Apparently I have one. I've never gotten that before. That hurts like a motherfucker.
yeah.
Ow. See Matt Mercer talk about his ear pimples, huh? It's real quality here. Anyway, so starts walking relatively slowly. It doesn't take long to catch up, and you find yourself sort of like struggling to match his pretty slow gait. Seems old, but kind-ish. You don't get like a warm feeling, but it's not particularly cold either. It seems like just kind of matter of fact. And you take a 15-minute walk on this level and to the left, and you follow, and it sort of curves around, and then at the very back, as you look out, you can see down into the area that you had walked up this stairs. There's another large set of 60-foot doors here, manned by guards. He nods. They open. Again, with these big, heavy chains that need to be pulled. And you enter into probably the professor's wet dream. Except there's no like workbenches around or computer screens. There are innumerable numbers of books here, and it is cacophonous. It is.
Is it resplendent?
It is not resplendent, but it is absolutely humongous, and it is. You go from this stone. To this extremely white and off-white sort of marble how to describe it? It's almost like a Capitol building, and
Everything's
there's
made out of marble.
thousands of people in here. Most of them in very similar robes to Bavio, but a lot of people just learning. A lot of people sitting down. There's rows and rows of, kind of like the Library of Congress, where there's rows and rows of tables in the center. And for some reason I lost the ambient sound to this, which will, here we go. Almost just endless hallways, and the way the sound carries off of this beveled ceiling with tons of archways, it echoes just a ton. There are books as you keep walking deeper into this place. You can hear people talking hundreds of feet away, and you hear the sounds of like whispers. That's how much the sound carries in here. It's kind of weird to walk into a library and not have it be dead quiet, because of the structure here. Everything sort of echoes to a ridiculous level. You're walked to the back and then to the right, and past more rows of books. Until you get to what looks to be like a little alcove. And in this alcove, there are several very lush, leather-looking chairs and couches, many desks, where some books are just laid out. Bavio quickly scoops them up as he walks past. And there is a fire in the back. I thought you would be most comfortable here.
Thank you.
He takes the books and sort of slides them into his sleeve, and then he very obviously starts to set an alarm spell around the outside of this area, laying a silver string, and then goes like this, and a white orb hovers about 30 feet up in the center. So, what do you ask of Bavio, gentleman?
Who wants to go first?
I am Chief Librarian in the Indrussian House of Knowledge.
Would you like to
We have ancient
go first?
knowledge
Are you?
of innumerable years. No one being has read them all.
I
this
keep
guy.
thinking about the sloth from Zootopia
I
right
know.
now.
You know, I didn't think about him when I made this character, but yeah, it's kind of like that, yeah.
I was thinking the kid from Malcolm in the Middle. The one who talks.
The one with the breathing problem?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he's not quite infirm, but he's old.
Okay. Well, did you just want us to tell you the general topic that we're interested in, and then you could bring a book most pertaining to that?
I will bring you to the book.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
The rest stay here.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
The other two, pointing at Kasdan and Vel, you were not given permission.
Maybe you guys should go back to the room?
They must
Yeah, maybe.
stay with you.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Kasdan goes, but look at the books! Vel's fine, just
Hating every moment.
Kasdan probably just wants to rip open every single one.
Kasdan is a little beside himself. Can I just take one?
Don't, please don't. I don't want to die here.
Kasdan, no.
Sits down next to the fire, looks at the books literally behind him, just outside of the alarm spell.
No.
It's like a kid when you tell them not to touch and they're just like,
That
No.
this whole section is on daggers.
no!
And you look, and yeah, and there's like every language here, and as you all kind of look, each of you sees like a book that says like dagger, small swords, like sharpening, like crafting, like
Move him to a subject he's not going to.
no, the whole section is
I know, I'm saying we should move him to a subject that he's gonna hate.
I don't
This
think
is-
he's gonna hate a subject.
your section.
Oh,
Who will go first?
Why don't you just
Okay.
go?
I'm looking for material on the ninth star and anything pertaining to what happened to it.
Star.
Yeah.
Do elaborate.
Well, there is a, let's call it a myth, a legend, that
Myths.
Nah,
Legend.
but also,
We have books.
but also perhaps history, ancient history long forgotten, that there was once a ninth star, and perhaps even those beyond that. We're hoping to find some material on perhaps writings on what happened to it, what caused it to disappear specifically. Basically, I don't know how much material we would have on this. Clearly.
I have 3 books.
Okay.
1. Sinners and Stars. 2. The Praise of Science. And 3, elegance of the galaxy. Choose one.
Do you have any information on the age of these books? Or their contents? Sort of a back of the book?
A blurb.
Is that a
They
thing?
are all from the same prehistory era.
Oh boy.
Many are restricted. However, you are granted an hour.
Okay. May I confer with my friends about this? Briefly?
No one will stop you.
Okay,
So,
Sinners and Stars, that sounds more religious. The Praise of Science or the Elegance of the Galaxy, either could be...
P-R-E-Y-S.
Praise. Okay.
I'm between the last two for sure.
And Elegance of the Galaxy.
Which one do you think might be more likely that could be something, I guess, left over either by your people or someone who might have an idea that has...
Is the word galaxy something that anyone recognizes? Like...
Is that
Did
a common
Yeah.
term?
No one else but you recognizes that word.
That's promising.
What about science?
The concept of a galaxy requires quite a
Sure.
few more stars.
The praise of science being that the word pray is in it.
That's pretty...
Could also be...
But it also could be super generic. Or specific, but not what we want.
Elegance. That makes it just sound like it's gonna be...
About, like, the beauty of whatever galaxy means.
I say to them, a galaxy is like what we call everything that's like... When all the stars are there, you're one of them, and then it's like... All the other stars, they make up a thing. Like, there's a... You know how there's, like, cities and countries and then planet?
So it's like a country for...
It's
Stars?
it's an umbrella. Never mind. Okay.
It just sounds like it's going to talk about how beautiful it is.
Okay. I'll say
Please do not touch the dagger books.
Kasdan?
is he
Kasdan?
Please don't get us murdered in a library.
Don't make us regret bringing you here.
I don't know what you're talking
Please don't
about.
make us...
Maybe take a nap. You seemed a little tired after the okay.
He's faking.
He's totally faking.
Yup.
Sort of chuckles.
I'm thinking between the last two, but go with your gut.
I'm gonna say the praise of science.
For 500, please.
I do not understand your reference.
Please don't.
Please
It was out of the game.
follow me. Turns and starts to walk. The rest of you are left to your own devices as the professor takes a walk with Bayview. Anything you want to do?
Watch Kasdan.
Yeah, keep an eye on
He's
Kasdan.
fine. He was more fucking with the guy at that point. The alarm spell is, if you can't dispel it, then you can't get past it. You can't just be real quick.
Yeah. It's not like, Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Vel sort of looks around. He has clocked at least 3 guards watching you as well.
Of course.
They seem to be, at least by his estimation, they seem to be pretending to be patrons of the library, but they keep passing this particular area. The two of you take a walk. It seems like a discordant path, and you don't necessarily, you get disoriented after a little bit, because it's all pretty samey. And then you get to an area where the bookshelf it has like a gate on it and chains. And you can see at that point, Bavio takes a key out of his sleeve, takes his long fingers and pulls the key out, puts it back in his sleeve, opens the gate. Praise of science with an E.
Yes.
Grabs a tome about that thick. It's a burgundy-looking book. Closes the gate, takes a key, locks it again. The desk is over here. And sort of walk over, and there is a desk. You will be given 1 hour.
Okay.
Sets down. It's burgundy. It has gold edges on the pages. The binding says "Praise of Science." What language does he speak?
I speak Common, Automaton, Elvish, Draconic.
It's on automaton.
Okay.
So yeah, that's good. By the way, you don't know if you're gonna know the language.
Oh, yeah.
Can we ask him about that?
I can
already?
cast...
You can't cast.
Oh, fuck, you're right. Shit.
But you do know automaton. So, it is there. You do see, it's both swirly, text and blocky at the same time. There's swirls with blocks, and they sort of link together like puzzle pieces for their language. It's kind of an interesting, like just from a mathematical standpoint, it's very interesting how they form their things. So, the front has pictures, a picture of one single star, and it seems to be the one that you guys call the sun.
Okay.
Other than that, it's all yours. So, for the first 15 minutes, I assume you're cracking it open?
Yeah. I would look at the table of contents for sure to try and suss out what...
So you're looking for a table of contents. Go and roll an intelligence check.
Thanks. 10.
10. Takes you a little bit, but you do find it. Their table of contents...
5. I have a plus 5.
They write back to front.
Okay.
So you start at the back.
Manga style.
And it is sort of manga, yeah. What?
Call me a weeb because I know that it reads back to front. I thought that was just
We
like,
get so much in the mail. That's how I
thought it
found-
was just
that's
like
how
I thought
Isn't
just like
that also
everyone
just
knew
Japanese
I
in
was
general?
just
that
screwing
you
with
have to
you.
write?
Uh-huh.
Because I
it's in the
also
back,
knew
you start
that.
reading.
You can't just steal
Go and
my
roll
joke.
an intelligence check for the
Too late.
first 10 minutes.
Get
Or for the first
original
15
content.
minutes of retention.
It's better stealing others. I don't have to think about it.
I'm gonna luck point that.
You
That's a
think it
1.
all?
No. I'm trying to be as brain dead as possible.
At least you're aware.
So you're basically
This
trying to
still
speed
smells
read
good.
and retain the information.
Oh, yes. Okay. Much better. That's a 20. Okay.
Natural?
No, it's a 15 plus
All right.
5.
Okay, so go ahead and make a roll for, well, let's see what you retain in the first 15 minutes.
Okay.
What are you looking for specifically from the table of contents?
Anything pertaining to...
Okay.
If there's something I can see that sticks out about a 9th star, but if not, sort
Okay.
of generalizing
So,
out to the stars and then...
You skip towards past introduction, past basic physics, past advanced physics, and you get to a part that's kind of about the rough cosmology, and you get a similar but varying map of the planes.
to the one I got before.
Right, but this one specifically delves into Mechanus and kind of like the different layers of Mechanus, and kind of they've charted how, at least at the time, the different gears that you walk on when you're there. They charted the exact most efficient paths to different places within it. And is there anything else? And they say that the sky there has many stars.
Okay.
But of course, you've been there. The stars there aren't really stars.
Sure.
It's sort of like mechanical energies that just sort of spark off into the sky. And so that's what you retain in the first 15 minutes, because you had to speed read to get to the table of contents. So go ahead and roll for the next 15 minutes. See if you retain this information.
18.
Okay, you do retain this information. You keep moving on,
Do so bad.
going backwards. And they start to talk about kind of where the spark of their life began, and they talk about their link to the gnomes. And then they talk about, curiously, the gnomes, and this is really old, this is the first you've heard of this part of this, is the gnomes may have been given their knowledge of like creating sentient life like this, like Warforged and stuff, from the stars, not from the gods, which is very interesting. They distinctly mention beings from other places that the gnomes have discussed, but the automatons weren't around during that time because they had to be made yet. Go ahead and roll for the next 15 minutes.
18 again.
Okay, doing well.
Making up for our slack.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be here.
At this point, you start getting information on a race of people that float in the sky. It doesn't sound like your own. Go and make me a history check. Because they use some language here that in Automaton doesn't necessarily one-to-one.
23.
23 is pretty good. They start using words like harnessed wind, but wind in the context here you think might mean solar winds, which might mean space travel or planar travel. You can't quite tell, but the winds here in that context don't seem to make sense unless you put that piece of the puzzle in there. You aren't getting mentions of stars necessarily, at least not a ninth star. They from the stars you keep getting, and you can't really make. I don't know. You start. It gives you a 15-minute warning, and you're like, shit. So last 15 minutes.
Use a luck point.
Okay.
That was another 1.
Wow.
Yeah. Nice.
That reminds me, I
Lucky
should have
rabbit's face.
Rose
shit.
with me. I'm gonna have Rose
18.
on my shoulder.
18?
Yeah.
All right. So you're retaining a lot of information. In the last part, you kind of like going through skim, and you're trying to get through as much of this book as you can. In this time, you there's mention of a tiny shape, and it keeps being called Star of Life, and it keeps being described as something you can put in the palm of your hand, but shouldn't be touched. And they allude to it being a star, which would make it a ninth star, but you don't quite know if they're being metaphorical, because like automatons are kind of weird. Like their language is very Like, you'd think it'd be very literal, but it almost works in, like, they're trying to use metaphor.
But failing or doing
Maybe
it
not,
poorly.
but they don't have idioms and stuff. They
Sure.
don't have the same cultural influences. So they're trying. It's almost like they try to be flowery with it, but they can't quite make it contextualize properly. Go ahead and roll me a history check as you are finishing through this.
28.
28's pretty fucking good. The gist that you're getting as you piece this through as you go is people came from the stars, came down, had another star, and gave it to the gnomes, or it was taken by the gnomes, or something, and they used it to create the automaton race. And kind of through the power of this thing that keeps being called the star, was born a separate dimension that they called Mechanus. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Don't know how useful that was, but
I don't know. But you retained it all, and then as just about exactly an hour goes, Bavio closes the book, takes it, walks back over. How was the book?
Very interesting. It seems to me that this library has information that would be illuminating to the people that the information is about. Like, that was a book about the gnomes. Seems like they'd like to know about their history. Seems a shame to have books unread.
It is no longer unread. Congratulations. And starts to turn.
I don't understand limiting our access if the world is gonna end.
And then he takes it definitely a different way.
And all these restrictions.
And as he takes a different way down, you can see he starts to pull those books that he picked up out of his sleeve and start to put them back on your way. After about an hour and a half, the professor comes back.
Well,
I learned a lot about the gnomes and the automatons. Not necessarily anything about what we... It's interesting, and perhaps it could teach us more about the stars and their function in general and their relation to the planes, but...
it's almost like these restrictions make it really difficult for us to do anything useful.
Also, make sure we should ask them the language of the books before we decide, and whoever's going, so they can read it. So who's next?
I guess I'll go.
He just stares at you.
Do you know what languages the books are in when we ask, or is it something?
You must ask for a book first.
Okay. Anything about like ancient illithid prophecies about specifically something called the Feared One?
I thought that's what Ignir was gonna get.
No, his was different.
One of them we had as just ancient illithid writings history, and then we had the Feared One as separate, but then you wanted to do specifics, so ancient illithid writings on the Feared One, so we'd have to come up with something else probably.
Or just ancient illithid prophecies about the end of the world?
Sure.
Go with that.
But if there is anything about the Feared One,
Yeah. Then I'll...
that would be the
weekend.
best.
Yeah.
I have 2 books.
What languages?
One is called World Scourge.
sounds promising.
Another is enemies and ancients.
Oh man, both sound real promising.
I'd go with World
World
Scourge. What
What
languages?
are the books in?
World Scourge. Unknown.
Would be a language.
Enemies and ancients. Celestial.
Well, I guess we know which one I have to pick. The unknown one, and hope that it is the Illithid language. If not,
You may ask for a different topic.
I wish I had a sample to see what the language looked like. Do we risk it? Hope for the best.
Enemies and ancients written on Celestial will probably just be disparaging against the Illithid anyway.
Yeah,
Maybe.
being as
Celestials are judgmental creatures, so anyone who knows it, I'm going to assume.
We have books about other places in the world, other cultures.
because the
We
language is
have-
unknown to anyone that's not Illithid.
For someone with your persuasions, or your persuasions, and he looks at both Evelios and Egnir, we have herb books, hunting books, fungal books.
Oh my god.
I'm just gonna go for it. Give me
Books
Try it.
on the hells,
the Scourge book.
books on war. You want Scourge? World Scourge?
The one that you offered me. Yeah.
Unknown language?
Oof.
Risking
That's
it for the biscuit.
Oh my god.
Follow me,
There's 100% of the shots you don't take.
Emperor. And then he turns and starts walking.
Guess I'll just sit here and feed Rose like berries.
Is there anything you guys want to do while
Pray.
he's gone?
I'll put Rose on the desk and just play while
Okay.
to try to take my mind off of things.
I'm just gonna kind of look at the titles, all the different books and everything that are around us, try and imagine what they're about, and like, I don't
Yeah,
know,
again, most of these are
dagger
related. Well, not just dagger, like knives and swords, but like they seem to be specifically in this back corner, very, very short, pointy, dagger-like in their manufacture and their sale. Different kinds. There are some that seem to imply that they would lead to particularly interesting artifacts, or at least they would if that was a contemporary book. You don't know, but yeah, you're in a metallurgy type swordsmith area. Okay, so he walks you down. You take an immediate left instead of the straight and then the right that the professor took. And it's sort of winding. You kind of go in and weave through, and there seems to be foot traffic, and so Bevio will back up and ignore people and move around. It seems like he's trying not to be super social with anybody. It's kind of interesting. And you get to... I actually have to go upstairs for this one. So you climb a set of stairs, and you end up on the second level, and then you walk further, about a half hour, and you go up again, walk, go up again, walk, and then there's a black door, and he reaches into his
Where I
sleeve,
die.
pulls out a key. Interesting choice.
I'll walk in.
You walk in, and it's all lit by a magical red orb at the top. Closes the door behind them. This is the delicate area. These tomes are very fragile.
I'm a bit fucking cursed.
Please do not handle them without care.
Okay.
Walks over to what looks to be it's all heated in red at this point. There are these very large bookcases, and they seem to be covered by like glass, and they have many different like sliding windows. And he grabs one, slides one up, grabs what looks like a book, pulls it out, shuts the glass, and it's not. It's actually a box. Brings it over, sets it on a desk in the center underneath the red light. There doesn't seem to be any chairs though, so you're gonna have to stand. Takes another key, unlocks the box, takes that off, flips it out, puts his fingers inside, lifts it out. Please move the box.
Move the box for him.
Sets it down. Blows. And it is a black tome with a symbol. Do I have something that looks like that over here? I thought I did. Yeah, it looks okay. I don't really have one, but okay, it looks. Go to me a history check.
That's not too bad. 20.
Okay. So as you look at it, just on the front, the seal, and it's kind of in this like old, like it looks like a leather or something, some sort of tanned skin or hide or some sort of organic type, soft thing like that. And it was this design is lined in what looks to be mithril, but surprisingly, it's not intact. This book is old enough for the mithril to have been eroded, which is incredibly old. Mithril lasts usually forever, so this is crazy old. And the design on the front, it kind of comes out like this, and then at the bottom, it almost looks like upside down flames, not tentacles, like you were expecting. Just a weird upside down silver flame. Go ahead and make me a sleight of hand check for the first 15 minutes.
Oh, that's not too bad. Fuck, that's dex. 20.
Okay. Alright, so you open the cover very delicately, but pretty quickly. Is there any specific information you're looking for in the language that you were prepping for? You don't know it great.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like if you took several high school classes of Spanish. You got an A, but there's maybe some tenses and some.
Yeah.
Certainly the idioms. If there's idioms, they're gonna go out the fucking window with you. You're not gonna have if there's any references to culture, you're not gonna have any of that. So you will have the baseline. I can kind of say the word out loud,
right?
But you might not have context clues.
Do they have like a table of contents?
No.
Okay.
Just want to look at the
skimming.
chapter titles.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first chapter title in the book titled World Scourge is called The Hunger.
Oh. Fuck. Yeah,
This is the book.
we're gonna look at all
Might
the
be.
chapters and then.
All the chapters? Well,
Look
you
at
only
the
have 15
titles.
minutes.
Okay.
So do you want to start reading The Hunger?
Yeah.
Okay, so I need you to make an intelligence check to retain this information.
Oh god. So that's not bad.
18? Should have given him
18?
fucking performance on hand syndrome.
All right.
We all need some blow root.
I know, right?
Focus. Or not.
No, if you give it to him, he'd probably be like,
Okay, so the first
punch the red
15
orb.
minutes and your sleight of hand check you're going to have to make at the beginning of each of these as well. But this one you passed.
Oh god.
You don't want to break this book.
That'll go poorly.
Excuse me. The first chapter titled Hunger, you are able to get through it. There are definitely areas that are referencing things that you, like proper nouns probably.
Okay.
But like they're very strange, so you can't even retain the information. But what you do retain is that the sky was once empty. And at some point it wasn't anymore. And they reference this by calling it the day, separating it from the endless night. And when the day came, so too did the appetite. And then there's some mentions of names you don't understand, a reference to like some.
I know I have a couple names, but I don't know if they're names.
None of them that you recognize. With your intelligence check, you'll be able to remember them. So it's.
Yeah.
This is technically retrospect, which.
Okay.
Yeah. You get some references to titans, or things of titanic size. You can't really tell if they mean colloquially what we mean by titans, like by something just humongous,
Or
and like
something
ancient, or
completely
something
different.
or something completely different. You get reference to something called the Elder, and is there anything else in this chapter? Roll me a history check.
23.
That's pretty good. You also so they say basically you can't really it's kind of like the word special, but it means more than that clearly from the context, but you can't but special is the word. Like that's the closest word you can find to. So special, and then it's people, but it doesn't mean people. It doesn't seem they have a word for these special people.
So it's just like that's the closest thing I can come up with. Is
Right.
special people.
So and it says tethered to the appetite.
Like special people tethered to the appetite.
Not like a sentence, but like that's the gist of that last like. You can't really like. There's words that you don't really have like enough context clues to kind of. But so go ahead and roll me a sleight of hand check.
16?
15's just enough.
16.
16's just
Okay.
enough plus 1. And then an intelligence check. So you flip forward to chapter 2.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not a very thick tome either. It's like this. So I mean, you know, you're getting the gist. The page seems to be torn out.
Oh.
So you don't know the name of the chapter.
Okay.
And you're missing part of it, but from the looks of it, as you go through, go ahead and make me a perception check. Just normal, since it's low light.
15?
You're missing about a dozen pages here.
Okay.
But it doesn't look like whereas you thought it was ripped out. It looks like maybe they just fell out. Like it's just really old.
Yeah.
Go and roll me an intelligence check to start reading this area.
That's not bad. 16?
16. Not a failure for sure. Okay, so you begin to read, and you're kind of picking up in the middle of a conversation, and this runs into chapter 3. But before you get the title of that, this starts talking about the others, And it seems they've been talking about... They had a name for the others probably earlier in this, but now they refer to them only as the others.
Yeah.
And the others seem to be... there seems to be an antagonistic relationship. You can't quite pin it. Or what was done or why. You see a reference to more special people being made. And the appetite grows into the hunger at this point. And then chapter 3 rolls around.
Okay.
You move forward, and chapter 3 is titled The Darkening. So this too is pretty corroded. Go ahead and roll me an investigation check to kind of...
This
12.
12, decent, not great, but decent. So you can parse together, like, based on your knowledge of the letters and kind of how their words are structured. They don't use a lot of conjunction. They don't use a lot of contraction either.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of judge based on the spacing of the letters and just the context of the sentence. The darkening marks the first time that the hunger accomplished the goal of ceasing the light. Based on your knowledge of this, you assume that probably means they put out a star. It seems the mechanism by which they put stars out is not super defined. But you can, based on what the professor had talked about, it seems that they're bound, like each star is a manifestation of the energy of a plane. So where there once was innumerable planes, there are now only a few planes,
Right.
some of which aren't even strong enough to create stars. So the multiverse itself, they must travel in a way that affects the multiverse. You do see another reference to the Elder. And then chapter 4 begins as you turn the page with a sleight of hand check.
Let me write this down real quick. There's so much.
Yep, it's a good book. It's a brittle book, though.
Yeah.
So you could easily lose. You're good at sleight of hand.
Yeah. 17.
Yeah, that's just enough. +2. Go ahead and roll me an intelligence check.
So chapter 4, right?
This is chapter 4.
16. +1, man. This is rough.
All right.
You're actually rolling better than I did, for sure. I just have a higher.
And luck points.
Yeah.
Chapter 4 is called, for lack of a better term, you're getting the word divorce. Not in the colloquial marriage sense,
Yeah.
but like a division. Division would also work in that place. So divorce, division,
I just put a
divide.
question mark by it.
The dividing.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the realm of there's a
Two things splitting.
Two things splitting. And you see reference to the hunger and the elder. And the elder calls the hunger the scourge.
Okay.
And then it gets flimsy again. I'm going to need you to make an investigation check as you try to carefully read context clues.
13.
13, okay. There seem to be, from best you can tell, like two camps. Those that side with the elder, those that side with the hunger. And then the others side with neither.
The others?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, yeah. So, that's pretty much the whole thing. What was your investigation just now? 13?
13.
Okay, and you can see that there's animosity, and the elder side seems to have a more religious devotion, and the hunger side seems to have a more militaristic
Oh
devotion.
god, we're fighting nihilists. They're fucking like Thanos.
Chapter 5 is gone, Chapter 6 is gone, Chapter 7 is gone, Chapter 8 is gone. There's part of Chapter 9, or you can read the final chapter.
Final chapter.
Okay. Roll me a sleight of hand check because there is a wide gap here that is, there's a, for kind of a rubber.
24.
Okay, natural 20.
19.
Oh. There's like a rubber spacer there that keeps the book binding from crumbling. Maybe it's not rubber, but it's very similar. Maybe thick leather. Rolled over. You skip past 9. And you roll over to 10. And roll me an intelligence check.
12. Yeah. Plus 1 is rough.
Okay. All right. Let's see what information you get. So the title of the chapter is The Arrival, The Departure. So the arrival, comma, the departure. There's so much information as you try to read this last chapter.
Yeah.
It's hard to retain all of it. But the gist of it is there's a fight. The elder faction loses and intends to hide from the hunger. The hunger begins to systematically consume.
Almost like it's searching for...
You get... Roll me a history check.
24.
Okay. So to kind of synthesize the thoughts, it feels like... To sustain at a certain point, the systematic nature of the hunt turns into a necessity for survival purposes due to just the consumption. It seems like once things were consumed to a certain point, it was almost like a cascade effect. It was an inescapable inevitability that consumption needed to continue in order to survive.
Almost like an addiction.
Kind
It
of.
is, in a sense.
Kind of, yeah. And then at the very end, there is a note in the margin. I need you to roll one more intelligence check.
That was pretty good. 20.
Okay. In the note in the margin, it reads, in common.
Oh.
In red, like a red pen or something.
Yeah.
I know it's coming. I've got to tell him. And then there... You're going to make me another intelligence check as you see math.
17.
No, you don't know. There was definitely an equation.
For that first, and then how'd you just double it?
But you know there was an equation. Please, close the book. Or slide a hand check.
That's not bad. 17.
Okay, you're good. Close the book. He picks it up. Please move it back. You move the box back. He puts it in the box. Closes the box. Locks the box. Picks up the box. Puts it away. Locks that. You walk out. You're on your way back. Good work.
Am I back yet?
Another half hour you will be. Anything you're doing in that half hour? It'll be about 2 hours total that he's been gone. Half hour there and back,
just
and an
like-
hour with the book.
Having Rose chase my finger across the desk and then like do it again. And just trying to not go crazy.
Being bored sitting in a library full of books is like when you're thirsty trapped in the ocean and you're around a bunch of water, but you can't have it.
I know! Ah.
What?
These sort of motions. I didn't notice. He motions, and then like down the hallway, like in between the two bookshelves, across the hall, and on the other side, it's a section entitled Elven Politics. It's just torture. It's too much. Let me steal them. All of them.
No.
Every book.
No.
I mean, I would like to, like, morally. I don't think
I'm sure
this
we're
should
literally
be.
being listened to right now. Can we not talk about stealing these people's books?
Give me the book.
I'm saying
He
that
stares
we
up at
wouldn't
the thing.
steal them. I think it's dumb to keep them locked away from the world, but
Yeah. Well, they got the fire breath weapons and ice breath weapons. So, what are you gonna do?
Footsteps.
how did it go?
You will read them
I'm
an
exhausted.
hour at a time.
There's so much.
Now is time. Baby-o needs a break. Refreshments will be brought to you shortly.
Thank you.
I assume you're about to just tell us everything you know.
Just to walk away. Go ahead.
Just unload.
So I read about 4 or 5 chapters.
A couple kobolds walk up to you and they give you meat platters,
And-
more cheese, refreshments, nuts, and other stuff.
It was thankfully in the language.
Okay,
Elithin.
good.
That would have been an
So,
awkward hour sitting there with a book you can't read if you couldn't.
yeah.
There was part of it I couldn't understand, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
Fortunately didn't know what it meant. So it was. What was the name of the book? Did it have a name?
Nope.
Okay. Well, the first chapter was.
Well, World Scourge, but like
Yeah.
nothing else.
The first chapter was called The Hunger. That sounds pretty close.
Yeah.
The sky apparently was once empty, and then it wasn't,
Okay.
and it was called The Day. And the day brought the appetite. So there was some references to some titans. I don't know what that was. There was a reference to somebody called the Elder, and then something about special people tethered to the appetite, or at least that's what I could understand. I need to learn this language when we're done here. That would help a lot.
Yeah, probably.
There was something they're talking about the others, and it was kind of like antagonistic.
Didn't we see something in any? Hold on. Can you give me like all of your notes that you have on the Illithid?
Yeah.
Like all of the things that you have. Search everything that we have, because I swear to God, the others sound so familiar. I feel like it's come up at some point.
They are somewhere.
Did we talk about Gith?
Hmm?
Did we talk about the Githyanki, or is that just my fucking brain?
Are you asking me or them?
You.
I don't know.
I don't remember if that came up, but why am I thinking that there was a thing that came up about that?
You should probably ask that one right there.
Do you have that in your notes?
I would have personal knowledge, but I don't think we've talked about them ever.
I know, but I feel
No,
like
they came up.
when
Did
we were
The moon vault.
yeah.
When did it? I don't remember.
I looked at my notes from the Moonbelt, but I didn't have it written down specifically.
Well, that's when the information came up.
Yeah, it was when we met Alhoon. And he fucking ran away from us.
There was a body. There were bodies floating in there that were gift.
Yeah,
And then you
and
talked
you
about
knew what they
yeah.
were.
Okay.
And I think for some reason I'm connecting the others with them, and I don't know why. Unless someone said something.
You have all my. Someone else has it.
This is the only thing we have.
Because all the little pieces I had are gone. They were in my notebook. They're not here anymore.
Agnir, go ahead and roll me a history check. 18. I get to involve you. This talk of day and night, and specifically Titans, the Golgari are more of, you're more, you're agents. You deal in politics. You deal in kind of keeping enough discordance in society to make sure that no one has unlimited power. That's kind of like the Golgari's thing, is to kind of make sure you're the self-imposed check on the world's powers. But that's not the only thing that you, Egnir, are aware of. You are also a druid, and this doesn't come from nowhere. You're a member of the Circle of Spores, which is a Golgari sub-thing. And within the Circle of Spores, all druidic peoples tend to share very similar oral histories.
Surprise.
And this idea of darkness and then day is like one of the oldest creation myths within druidic circles. And that surprisingly matches up with the account that he's saying he got from the Illithid.
I don't have any notes. I didn't learn anything.
You also know that the Circle of Spores believes that gods derive their power directly with the amount of people that believe in them. There's actually a race of people that are so intrinsically linked, and this is why you believe that. There's a race of people so intrinsically linked to the planar energies, they're called the Kuatoa, that if they believe in something hard enough, they can create tiny demigods. And sometimes very powerful gods. The Golgari all but made those people extinct many years ago because of that power. It was too destabilizing even for the Golgari's liking. But yeah, so at least the day-night thing, that motif, and kind of this talk of like Titans or special people, that all might tie in to your version of the creation myth from a druidic standpoint, if that helps.
What do I know about the creation myth from the standpoint of
Roll
someone?
a religion check from a Lathandrian.
Yes. Religion. 18?
Well, you think he's called the Dawn Lord. He's one of the prime original OG gods, representing light and birth and all of these things. Lathander is besides Toll, the oldest god. And you don't know about how much. So, while you don't have stories of a night before the dawn, it's implied that bringing the dawn would provide light where there was none, so... You don't know how this was manifest. There's not like a...
We're not told
kind of like the
a...
Christian myth where, like, Christians don't go, like... Or Jews, I guess, in the Hebrew Bible, don't go, like, and this is how God was created. God is assumed to have
eternal.
always existed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same... Your creation myths are very similar in that vein, where Lathander just exists to bring the dawn, and thus there is light. Was there anything specific about the creation myth you wanted to ask? Why not?
Like, is there anything that I was taught in the church about how our world came to be?
No. Just that Lathander brought light to it.
As if it existed already, but he just brought light? And by extension, life?
Well, a lot of things can't live without light anyway, so yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, so, for instance, you would know from studies and just talking with anyone who's been around, like, the Drow don't value light in that way. So, and they're also elves, so, like, they could have lived before the time of Lathander necessarily, but maybe that's not how it happened. You don't really know. And based on the elven creation myth, they're not even on this plane of existence when they're created, so... Creation myths could be creation facts because there's so many variables
I
at
think
play.
I should look into, instead of prophecies about the end of the world, we have to go to Elysium eventually, right?
Yeah.
So, if we do that...
You also have to go to get Shooty Boy back.
Yeah, which he was with Illithid, wasn't he? He said? Did we know that?
No. All I got
You
was...
got
He sent me his location roughly on the plane that he's in. Or I got
I don't
that
remember if
information.
we got the information that
Astral.
he was around.
Yeah.
But...
Astral is where
So-
you know that your people use slipstream technology, and Gith use the same technology there. And if in fact the others are Illithid, then you would imagine the Illithid are there too. It's the astral plane surrounds all the other planes, so it's used for quicker A to B.
If we could find out more about the schism of those people and why they warred with each other between the Elder, we really need to find out what the Elder is. What do they reference when they mean the Elder?
Well, I've only went through one chapter. I have a lot more.
I think we
Vague
can just
lore
cliff
dump
notes that you...
episode.
I was gonna say, I think we could just cliff notes that you dumped all of it on us.
Yeah.
Because we already wrote down everything.
Yeah, I would assume you guys
were
are talking
listening.
about that. But it's good for you guys to speculate openly as well. It's fun.
Also,
You can ask me questions
Well, you
and
guys
make
don't.
rolls and stuff.
What the part I couldn't read though, there was a part in common at the end, saying, "I know it's coming. I have to tell him, but how?" And then math equation, or what looked like math anyways.
It's
There's
in
a bunch
common?
of numbers. Yeah, in red pen
In the margin.
in the margin.
Red ink. There's no
How
pen.
big was the equation?
I guess. I'm
It's
like,
pretty big. Like, it looked like a solid paragraph of math.
about a paragraph.
And he remembers none of it.
No. It's just, I mean, like, it's like if you walked into an airport and saw Russian on a board and then left.
Yeah.
Like,
you
what are you
wouldn't-
gonna, like,
fair
it
enough.
looked like Russian. I don't.
Oh god, that's gonna bother me.
It's gonna bother me too. I don't know what
Pretty high
about-
DC to remember that math equation since you're not a mathematician.
or have a high wisdom or intelligence.
Should have had you memorize the damn language. So,
Do we want to search specifically then as the next things? Books including things called the elder.
The problem is, what if
and
it's in
the
that language
hunger.
Look
again?
for anything about the Elder, but I'm really interested in looking at things from other creation myths to try to see if
Cross-reference. and
we
see
can
if
cross-reference other creation myths.
Here's a problem.
Right?
What if we look up the Elder and it's in that language again?
That is an issue, yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't go twice.
So my thought process is if we have to go to Elysium anyway, and I assume I know I'm not in the best favor with Lathander, but if he is good and probably wouldn't want the world to end, so maybe we could find out something about what this thing is.
I feel like good's a relative term here. He literally kicked you out of your home and landed you on the material plane as a baby.
And then you technically dumped him.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, had that never happened, I wouldn't be here with you guys. I wouldn't have the friendships and stuff that I do.
I'm not saying nothing good has come
And
of it. I'm just...
maybe we wouldn't be in the position to save the world.
Maybe.
Good things have came from it, but at the same time, it's not gonna be a good welcome home party.
Oh, I know. I'm just thinking that maybe when we have to go there for the planar energy, that we can get some enlightenment on that. He's the oldest, other than Toll.
Maybe. I mean...
It's possible when they talk about the day, it has something to do with him.
Yeah.
Maybe I should look for books written in, like, Celestial or Abyssal or something that might be older.
Sure. Specifically, just again, those creation myths.
Yeah, or Elvish.
I'd do that, but I'd also specifically say anything that includes phrases like the hunger.
The Elder.
Yeah. Anything like that.
They could just give us a magazine or something. Like, I can't read any of it.
Just read the titles.
Speculate.
I already have.
All of them?
Read them backwards.
Ooh, good idea. Alright, so...
What is Egnir gonna search for?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's see if you get anything new, and then we'll confer and decide.
Is Agnir going last?
I guess so.
Dragon weddings. Important.
Well, if we kind of get what we need, that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Alright. Grabs another piece of cheese.
Kasdan, think about all the ways you could rearrange the books not only by alphabet.
I don't even like cheese.
Who doesn't like cheese?
Makes me poop.
Cheese usually makes people not poop.
Not me. Cleaned right out.
You're probably lactose intolerant.
I don't know what
What
lactose
does
is.
that mean?
There's an ingredient in dairy products that some people are averse to.
Dairy?
What is dairy?
People would know the word dairy. Egg. Well, I guess are eggs considered dairy?
No.
In the dairy section
But
of...
they're not.
They're not
Okay.
dairy.
Milk, cheese, milk products.
Oh, we call
Oh,
them
things
milk
with milk?
products.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just...
Dairy? Who make that one?
So does milk have
Sounds
something
like
to do
some-
with how you poop?
Sounds like some bougie fucks at one point wanted to call their thing something different than milk. That's a historical fact.
Everything.
Is that really?
France, venison, deer, beef, pork, yeah, veal, yeah. All those,
Everything
all
you put
those
in your
are
body
bougie,
has to
rich
do with
people
how you poop. That's how poop works.
calling their food different things than what the peasants eat when it's the same thing. They're fuckers. Anyway, so Your kind of break ends, and Bayview returns. After about an hour.
Oh boy.
Hello.
Hi.
Who is next?
I'll be going
Red
next.
or green? Red it is.
I'm looking for anything, possibly the oldest books you have on creation myths.
Okay. Two books. One. Yesterday's dawn. The other. Of the void.
What are the languages that these are written in?
You're torturing this man.
Yesterday's dawn is celestial. Of the void, abyssal.
I can read both.
They both seem like they could potentially pertain. That Yesterday's Dawn is probably going to be more creation myth-centric.
Also-
The void sounds like something a little more having to do with the abyssal plane and stuff like that. Maybe demons.
You said creation?
Yes.
It is of creation. It is where it is logged.
The elders are more religious. But I don't know if there'd be anything involving creation myths.
It's kind of 50-50. I don't know. They could both... I'm not getting anything from the titles that would pertain to which would necessarily be more helpful. Of the Dawn could help us understand the beginning a bit more, specifically how perhaps the Dawn...
Or
day-
maybe a cross-reference of a name of what the elder could possibly be referring to.
If we give you a key phrase, is there any way you can check and see if it is in either of those books?
I feel like that's a no. I'll do Yesterday's Dawn.
Control F, maybe?
Come with me.
Okay.
Oh boy.
You are going downstairs. You walk straight, you take a right, and you head down the large hall, and you pass by hundreds of different dragon people reading many different kinds of books. Some of them look like they're studying and writing in scrolls. It's impressive. You didn't actually expect a lot of the people here to be that informed. But it seems people of all ages and all types of dragon come here quite often. It takes about 100 yards, about a football field, of walking straight before you get to the end where there's a wall and there's a door. And then again, with large chains, it's pulled open. There's a staircase that leads down. A spiral staircase. And you are walking to a more private area. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of people here, maybe 20 or so. It's still very large, not quite as large as above, maybe 50 yards, and it seems to be circular in nature, and it's much more wide open. All the books, there's not like rows anymore, they're all on the outside, but they go up quite high, and there are large ladders that on wheels that swing around the edges. You walk to kind of like the back left, and there are ovular tables in the center where there are about 20 people reading and writing, but there's a ladder, and Bayview starts to pull it with this slow as you just sort of walk for a good 30 seconds Brings it over. Yes. And so it takes him about a minute to climb this ladder. Grabs a book, puts it in his sleeve. A minute back down. Walks you over to another table. It's about 8 feet long, and there's another person at the end of it. A small-looking dragonborn is green in robes very similar to Bavio's. Looks at you very strangely, and then returns to their studies. Book is set down in front of you. It doesn't look terribly old, and it has the Lathandrian crest on the front. It is white with a golden-looking sun, and then burgundy sort of rays, and it's painted on the cover. And it is, in fact, in Celestial. But based on the way it's written, it looks like someone that speaks Common natively and retranscribed this into Celestial, kind of like priests doing Latin.
Yeah.
So it seems to be a passed down Lathandrian book. By not that old, I mean like roughly 400 years old. A lot of the other books here are kind of dusty, but this one seems like it's in good shape. It's down here where there's less people to handle it, and so.
Alright, crack it open, see if there's any sort of table of contents.
Alright, roll me an investigation check.
Oh, God. 14?
It's not a table of contents, it's... think like Psalms, Proverbs.
That's what I figured. Ah, boy. Alright.
What do you want to find specifically?
Start from the beginning.
You're just going to start... Well, that's not usually how these work. So it's not like a Bible, where it's like a narrative. Usually Lathandrian books are like by topic, like Psalms and Proverbs. So you're going to have to think of a topic, roll a religion check, find that, and then synthesize that information with an intelligence check.
Alright, well, we're looking for specifically the creation of the world.
Okay. So you're looking for creation, you thumb through, roll a religion check to see if you recognize any of your old teachings.
That's actually really good. What the fuck is my religion? 20.
Okay, yeah. So, and this is titled Yesterday's Dawn, as I mentioned. Circle that, so, that was the other one you guys got, this World Scourge. I forgot to circle that. There we go. Excuse me.
Gross.
You're gross. So, yeah, what was your religion check? 20-something?
20.
20. Okay, so you find a couple passages in a row that seem to be discussing dawn specifically with a capital D and not a lowercase d. The lowercase d seems to, as you skim through, the lowercase d's seem to imply like services, practices, and kind of like dawn worship that you used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Capital D dawn seems to be an event. And so you flip to capital D dawn. Go and roll me an intelligence check to retain the first 15 minutes.
I'm so nervous. 17.
17 is very good. All right. Luckily, the DC is a little bit lower since this is like literally your former wheelhouse. So it's not going to be as high as like what Alex was just doing, but he rolled really well. So, okay, so in this, you start to get very flowery language about the Dawn and the Lord of Dawn and Lathander and the Bright Lord and all this shit, and you sort of roll your eyes. And but there's very interesting parts where there seems to be like after the dawn is given, there's a symbolic battle due to the way the Earth, well, not the Earth, but the planet rotates. There's a symbolic battle of light v dark. Like every day, you fight to make sure the light comes on tomorrow and stuff like that. But a more literal fight is discussed in regards to the Bright One leading the old gods against a force of darkness. There seems to be a like probably what someone now would say is a metaphor for how like a priest should act, or a cleric or a paladin of Lathander should act. But based on like your current mindset, this seems pretty literal. You could just be projecting, but it seemed interesting enough to remember.
Bright One.
So there seems to be definitely like an active like battle.
Is this like a past tense reference to something that happened?
Oh
or?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Not a future tense. No, it's called yesterday's dawn.
Yeah, I know.
No, all of this is past tense, and there are some. As you were going through the table of contents, there's like half of this book you've never even heard of any of these passages. It seems like at some point your book, like your holy text, like culled a lot of this information, and that's kind of interesting.
I'm gonna focus mainly on those parts then. That seem
The parts that you don't notice, or that
the parts that are new to what I know about.
Okay, so all right. Of the half that you have, I mean, there's like 400 or 500 of them. So
yeah.
What specific information are you looking for in the second part?
The bright one.
As you go back, the bright one.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and roll a religion check to parse through those.
That is a 18.
Okay. As you look through the passages, you see the bright one a couple times. References in several different passages. You kind of note the page numbers, and you flip. The Bright One is another name for Lathander, but it seems to be a title that Lathander had before his status as a prime god was cemented. It seems that he earned that spot in the context of these
Like earned being
passages.
a prime god?
There was always like a demigod aspect to Lathander, it seemed, and he was one of the originals, but it seems to be the prime god. There was a fight, and so he is referenced several times as the Bright One. And it seems like all of those are near the beginning of the book, and in reference to like kind of Batman Year One, but Lathander version. Like he didn't quite earn his stripes, so to speak. It was, there seemed to be pitfalls. There's a lot of these myths of like great battles that like, many sacrifices are made by Lathander in this time. There's mention of a great warrior at the end of the fight that has a very familiar name, Solarion. And she was one of the people trying to lead instead of Lathander.
Okay.
And that's what you get from Bright One.
Oh god. Okay, I want to diverge into two different things. So let's first go to anything that talks about the old gods.
Okay, so go and roll a religion check. Make your intelligence check. That's your
Really
religion
bad.
check to look for old gods.
Yeah, not that great. Fuck, I keep forgetting. 9.
9. Okay. There's lots.
It lists like a whole bunch.
Not names, but the old gods are mentioned. Like 25% of this book mentions different versions of old gods, and all of these have been redacted. You don't recognize almost all of these are redacted things, so it's very strange. Go ahead and roll me an intelligence check to retain what you're about to read.
16.
Okay. There are many claims to the Lathandrian throne, the Elysian throne, I guess. And many dispute Lathander's legitimacy in this time. The old gods include names you don't recognize, but names I can give you. If only I had organized these books in a different way.
If only you could have read our minds and knew we were going to look for this.
I know, right?
This is fucking... I'm so glad I picked this one. This is super interesting.
There's so much information from mine. So many different names. Well, general names.
Is this... Is it at the back? I believe it's at the back of the DMG. I could totally be wrong here. Seriously? Let's go to that page. Sorry. I thought I knew where it was.
Why are people saying F in chat?
No, it was just him.
Just me?
No.
Oh, it stopped for a second
No, we're
for
good.
people.
Seems to be on. We good?
Yeah, it froze for like a second.
Oh.
Seems to be working.
Okay. Let me check this book, and if it's not there, I'll just get them to you later. Yes, here it is. Okay. So... okay, so... other god names. Roll a d20.
Oh, fuck.
You're gonna roll this 3. This are 3 of the gods that you will...
2.
2. Azuth. God of wizards. Represents a lot of knowledge. Go and roll another one.
Fucking rolled a 2 again, so...
What do we roll?
11.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Helm. God of protection, life, and light. Seem very familiar?
What do you mean?
A lot of crossover with Lathander.
Yeah.
Go and roll again.
17.
Okay. Talona. Goddess of death.
Interesting.
And it's what'd you get from that?
So there were like a huge amount of names.
Oh yeah, probably 3 dozen. Those are what you can remember. What was the specific question you were looking for?
I was just looking for anything on the old gods and like reference to their existence before, I guess. So
yeah, yeah, and there seems to be dispute over the throne itself of Elysium. A battle which Lathander seems to have won. Roll one more religion check as you're reading through this.
19.
19, okay. You see a great weapon is stolen by Lathander from Solarion with the help of another for lack of a better term, through Celestial, sort of a god, woman, soldier, Valkyrie. You're kind of getting a gist of like somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
With the help of her, a great weapon was stolen. And then Lathander used that to seize power. Okay. So you have 15 more minutes. You want to look back at the table of contents?
I would like to find out more about Solarion.
Okay. So go and roll religion check.
Ooh, that's really good. 23. Math.
Okay, so there's early book Solarion and late book Solarion.
Late book Solarion.
Okay. Roll me an intelligence check.
Big money, no whammies. Oh, not
Whammy.
good. Big whammy. This is 7.
7. Okay, all that you can remember really from the end of this is that all records are to be wiped of Solarion, and she was dispatched.
Oh.
There doesn't seem to be a person that exists anymore.
Okay.
All right. Book taken up, put away after.
Oh god, I gotta go through it again.
Another minute up, another minute down. You walk back. The green, you can see the green dragonborn on the other side. At one point, is writing something, and then.
Oh fuck! I just realized I brought the pseudo dragon with me so I can use my luck point. I forgot to roll my luck point.
And as
Not the pseudo dragon.
gets up and walks away for a second with their hands on their head, like, I'm just trying to fucking think. And you're walking back. Anything
I'm
you
so
guys?
stupid. I'm an idiot. Someone punch me.
Anything you guys are gonna do while you're go and roll another d20 and see if that luck would have worked out. That way you don't have to hurt yourself. You know?
That's not how things work.
It's slightly better. 10.
Huh. Who knows? Who knows what that would have done?
It'd be like trying to.
Oh, did you think I was gonna retcon it?
No.
Oh.
I'm
No,
just
no
saying.
way.
I'm just saying it'd be like trying to get someone pregnant today to find out what baby you would have had 5 years ago. Like, the roll now has nothing to do with if she had used the thing. You know what I mean?
I guess. I mean, like, you know.
Rolling a dice is always an individual thing that's gonna have a different That's the point of dice.
Anything you guys want to do?
I'm good.
All right. So you walk back upstairs, the winding staircase, and back to the lounge.
Guys. Everything I've been taught is a lie.
Nice.
Cool.
So...
Twice in one lifetime.
So far.
Always possibility for more.
So, turns out there were dozens of gods before, Lathander being one of them.
Okay.
He fought them all by stealing a weapon, get this, from a person named Solarion.
Like your spear?
Yes. And defeated them to claim the throne of Elysium.
Huh. Sounds like Lathander.
So there was a battle between that, but he used to be called the Bright One, and he led the old gods against a force of darkness. But all of this was literally commanded to be written out of our scriptures. References to the warrior Solarion and all, like, the old gods were never anything we were taught. They were just written out.
And that copy was roughly 400 years old, but you don't know how old the original is.
Yeah. So they were trying to hide something for some reason, or change it. Now I'm starting to rethink my possibility that Lathander would help us.
I mean,
Well, Green One, it is your turn.
Oh god, what are we gonna send him to? Destruction myths?
What would you like, elf?
Or should we just dragon wedding?
No, we should use it for... We're not planning the wedding, the dragons are.
Yeah, okay. Maybe myths about destruction of the world?
Especially those involving stars in some way, shape, or form.
Or darkness.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot, though. I mean, what destruction apocalypse myth doesn't include darkness? You know what I mean?
Keep in mind, I am not a scholar.
we know.
What languages do you speak again?
Common, Elvish, and Giant.
Oh boy.
Oh gosh. So probably Elvish literature. What about Elvish literature about myths about the end of the world? Or Druidic? Do you... I don't know if you speak any kind of Druidic. Like... I guess
That'd be Sylvain.
not. Okay.
I guess Elvish.
Elvish myths about the end of the world?
The older the better, I would think. Which I'd imagine there's quite a bit of old material from elves considering how long they live.
Or what about elves and their gods from, like, did they have other belief systems before?
Well, elves think that when they die they go and become part of, like, the whole... Like,
I know, but... Oh.
Ancient civilization?
Good work.
Oral histories?
Kasdan, we need some help.
Why?
What do you think we should pick through? Like,
I don't care.
the elves are... Well, thanks.
What elves?
Thanks for wanting to help.
I do want to help myself to all these books.
Kasdan,
What?
can you think about what if it would be like? What do elves know about creation myths? Do you guys
We have our
commonly
own
tell them?
creation
Or
myth. I don't know if I buy it. Seems silly.
I know my people knew something was happening. I had a memory a while back.
Your people?
Yeah. Although, I doubt he'd be able to read anything about them. It would be some of the oldest shit in the library, I would think.
I wonder if you could bargain to have another look at that other book.
No bargain.
Even if it was like adding a text to the library?
Especially.
That's surprising. I don't know. What, maybe we should look into something about how the Golgari and that race that they...
I can make suggestions based on what you've been looking for so far and your discussions. I am the librarian,
Sure.
after all.
What are your suggestions?
Of course, there is sinners and stars that we mentioned earlier. There's an elvish tome entitled Warriors with Tradition that may be of some use in the old archives. There is People of the Depths. And Workings of Hells. And finally, as I have heard, you are to be betrothed. The classic giant literature curiosities of the heart.
The heart.
Perhaps that should be Z1.
Maybe not.
It is a giant scholar's point of view on draconic love interests. It also has some vows. If you don't know what you are going to say,
I have to say something.
It's how weddings
maybe
work.
you should read Curiosities of the Heart.
Is there one that's written by dragons and not by...
No. Why would we write ourselves a book about information we all already have?
to pass it down to those that don't?
We live for thousands of years. You see one dragon wedding, you've seen them all.
I assume you're the life of the party at most of them. You see,
I do not party. Except in here.
Fuck.
oh, what? Oh God!
Winks his good eye real slow.
Oh,
Let's maybe just
He
have
made
him
a
read
joke.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, I think he made a joke. I don't know. He's very strange. Is he? Whew. die. What shall it be?
Go read your giant book, buddy.
I think we got a lot of info.
Curiosities of the heart.
Sure.
Excellent choice. Do
Agnew being
follow
useful as always.
me. You take about a 30-second walk around the corner.
It's just
He literally goes down the hall and takes a left, and there's a desk, and he grabs a book and sets it down, and it's like pretty new. And you can see Agnew, and he kind of sits down, and you're like 50 feet away from each other. Curiosities of the heart. You can see on the front, it says in giant, Curiosities of the heart.
Is it misspelled?
It's in a heart. It's a green book
That's amazing.
with a red heart.
Wouldn't a book written by giants be really big?
Seems to be normal. Anything else? Good? Alright. Go ahead. Do you want to look for anything specific?
No, I'm gonna start from square one.
Alright, starting on page 1. Go ahead and roll me an intelligence check to synthesize the information from the first. 4. The introduction seems to be a foreword by Bernald de Big.
Yeah.
And he mentioned several things about how he fell in love with a dragon. The dragon doesn't love him back. He's sitting outside in the rain watching this wedding from afar, and imagines himself being the groom instead of who the groom actually is.
Oh my fucking god.
It's a little creepy, a little bit, but you don't really get any. You can't really remember any specific
insult
words
genre.
because, like, you start reading it and you just start like rolling your eyes and thinking about different ways you could kill a man. Specifically, a giant creepy man. And you get to chapter 1, and it seems to be like to the one I love, and you're like, fuck that. Chapter 2, I love her so much.
Oh god.
Chapter 3, please come back.
Oh,
Chapter
God.
4, outside her window.
He has a boombox.
Chapter 5.
Throwing rocks.
Chapter 5, as you just skim through, is When the Wedding Begins. And it's the name of the chapter is called The Darkest Day in the History of the World.
Jesus.
Roll me an intelligence check to synthesize the next 15 minutes of information. Is he doing terrible?
2.
Okay.
Randall.
This was as good of a use of his turn as any of the other
Yeah.
ones would have been, so
Yeah.
there we go. Okay.
So, chapter 5, you're like, you start reading, and oh god. He tells you about the lunch he packed, and how he brought an umbrella that he made out of some palm fronds or whatever. And then you're like, well, it's just rain. Enjoy the rain. It makes you moist. That's good. It's like a swamp. So you skip that chapter. You don't care. And then it's him looking down at this procession, and he mentions there's lots of people in the audience. There seems to be a sharing of wine or some other drink. There seems to be some other bullshit. The groom is like apparently like, you know, she can do better. You know, he was there when she wanted a shoulder to cry on. You know, you skip that one. Go ahead and roll an intelligence check to synthesize the next 15 minutes of
It
information.
says you can't get any lower.
Yeah, it can only go up. 5.
You can't even roll like a high number. Like just
Okay.
on the dice itself.
Okay. So, there's some crying in chapter 6 and 7 and 8. Skip. There seems to be some drawn pictures here, and it seems that he got a hold of Bernhold the Big, got a hold of the portrait for the wedding, or a copy of the portrait for the wedding, and painted over top of that portrait and put it in the book himself. It's very poorly done. Maybe it's sweet. You don't know. Skip. You continue to go on. He talks about how beautiful her blue skin is, and how just she is magnificent in every way. And that he wishes that he could be down there to share the bite that this groom gets to share. You don't know what that necessarily means, but it's so sappy. It's not giving you the nitty-gritty details. Go ahead and roll me a intelligence check for the last 15 minutes of information.
Come on, Randall.
Natural
No,
20.
I'm pretty sure I was supposed to have disadvantage on all these because of exhaustion,
It'll be alright.
but I'm also pretty sure it wouldn't have made a difference because you can't get any. That's a 1 and a 2.
Throw your dice and just flush them down the toilet.
Are you positive he's illiterate?
Are you positive he's literate?
Flush your dice down the toilet.
This is a brand new set. from Kraken.
It's not worth it. Kraken, you did bad.
Kraken, you fucked us. Your intelligence is 11. That's literate. Okay.
Someone's in the book should just been a pop-up book with pictures.
Well, near the end of it, it seems to be almost more of a diary about about a love lost. It seems to be a very one-sided love, however. And the last passage in the book, as you skip forward, says that Bernald Dubig is publishing this book, and the day it publishes, he's going to take a copy to her doorstep and profess his love by presenting her with the book. And then in the back of this book, in common, is an afterword.
I find it funny, yes.
In an afterword, it's Bernald de Big's obituary.
Oh no!
He was murdered by a particularly salty blue dragon queen. Shortly after her wedding day.
Blue Dragon Queen, huh?
I'm sorry, did he want to fuck Saldrew?
You don't want to stalk a powerful woman, or anyone, but definitely not one that can actually eat you. And then at the back it says, also seen in the comedic play The Ballad of Da Big.
The Ballad
Yes.
So that's what you remember from your thing. You got none of the good information, only the bad. Well done. One of you had to, right? It was bound to be one of you to fuck it up.
Good thing it wasn't me.
It feels right.
It feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it just fits.
So you watch Eknir sort of like close the book, push it aside, raise a finger to his mouth, shrug, and stand up and walk back.
So what you learn?
What'd you learn?
That book was useless. It was a terrible suggestion.
Are you sure you just don't understand emotions?
That brings me to my next point. Mademoiselle Alonia, I need you to teach me how to love.
Oh boy!
What do you mean exactly?
Well, that book taught me nothing useful.
This is a lot.
I don't know.
This is a lot to deal with. Okay. We can, you know what? We'll talk about it on the way back and traveling. We'll have some, yeah, I can help.
Well, I have you for another hour. Kind of sits down across from you in a lush
Oh, God.
chair. Do tell an old librarian what it is you research. Seems very interested after all these strange inquiries. More exciting than a normal librarian's day, surely.
My PhD was in applied metaphysics, but recently more interested in keeping everyone from fucking dying. So,
That's probably impossible.
not
Not from time, we'll say.
It seems you seek ancient knowledge.
Yeah, the book that I read was pretty.
Did you have old enough books?
I think mine was pretty old.
I was
I
born
would've-
before all these books were written. I'm not impressed.
I would have liked the one I had to be a more original version rather than the transcription. It seems like the person who did it didn't know Celestial very well.
Mine was great. It was just missing 5 chapters. But I get it. It was an old book.
Well, something you won't find in books around here or anywhere. The cloudless peak above us.
What's special about it?
It keeps people out of it. None have been to the top of the cloudless peak in many days. Not since Sylvain has existed has someone summited the cloudless peak.
So Sylvain has been to the top?
No.
No
Since he was born, we do not know of anyone
Oh.
to have made the climb.
How many try?
It keeps magic from being cast, and the air is too thin for flight.
When was the
You
last?
must climb it.
When was the last time someone tried to climb it?
It happens all the time. But those who try to climb it claim, and that return, claim spirits drive them from it. Some come back their minds ruined entirely,
Insight check.
only to be babbling buffoons.
Want to
Roll-
insight that. Uh, 21.
Seems to be telling the truth, at least to his knowledge.
It's probably
Some come back and claim their friends threw themselves off the mountain. Some don't come back at all. No one has ever proven to summit the cloudless peak.
What would happen if someone did and came back?
I do not know. You may have to speak to Lord Sylvain.
Let's do it. I'm very interested.
I cannot grant you anything. If there is knowledge above us, no one has dared obtain it yet.
How curious are you?
It's like dangling a carrot in front of your face right now. I know it.
I'm interested, but we
We don't have a way to get up there.
Yeah.
All mention speaks of deep knowledge.
and no, you can't cast magic because of whatever's at the top of this mountain.
You
And
can't
something
fly.
seems to be scaring and driving people mad to the point where they either kill
No
themselves
magic will work.
I'll be completely useless.
or... I couldn't even climb all the way because
Magic items cease.
my belt wouldn't help me at all.
Only the inner strength seems to work.
I feel like this is being dangled in front of us.
Well, let's just hope we don't die then, because we have a wedding to go to, and I don't think they'll be very happy if the groom is dead.
Do
Oh,
you want us
I
to
mean-
actually do this? We should talk to Sylvain first.
We should talk
Yeah.
to Sylvain.
You will need to get clearance for the door to the top.
It's too cold for us to even exist out here. I don't think we could make the climb.
If you wish, I can call upon Lord Sylvain.
Should we ask him if he would grant us the ability for you to look at that equation?
Oh, God.
But
Yeah, I mean, that's something good to bring up, too.
We could ask.
We can get that equation.
I don't know how generous he's gonna be feeling, but
well, if maybe
It's probably
do you think maybe
super
if you
important.
get your hands on that, you could find out like a time limit?
I have no idea.
But is it possible? Maybe.
I mean, it's numbers. It could mean any number of things.
He thinks you're very funny.
I know.
The only one.
I think he's funny sometimes.
Once enough. Alright, you're overdoing it.
I think we should ask before we leave.
She roasted you.
Let's talk to
Would
Sylvain.
you like to see Lord Sylvain?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, please.
He knows you're coming.
Oh, do we just?
Follow turns and starts to slowly walk.
Jesus Christ. He's
Follow.
literally the sloth. Oh my God.
45 minutes later, you make it down the stairs, out of the library, down the stairs, around where, past the apartment, down the stairs, and then deeper into the center of the mountain, and then a long walk in progressively smoother, chiseled out caverns and these tall hallways, and into a large 400-foot around radius or diameter circle in a large room, and there are hundreds of silver dragonborn guards lining the walls. And in the center, atop, kind of like an effigy of a mountain made of platinum coins melted together, and at the top, loose platinum, lies Sylvain, claw over front. Gets up, stretches the wings, turns into his tiefling form, and starts to walk down the melted platinum steps toward you. Yes.
Do you want
I will give you leave,
Thank you.
my lord. And turns and walks out.
So,
Apologies for him.
he's been
It's the best we have, but very old.
He's been very helpful and entertaining.
The Dragonborn don't live as long as I.
So,
Yes.
as much as I feel like we've already pushed our generosity with you, there's one small thing I think that we all want to ask.
Small. Meals, prostitutes.
No,
No.
maybe a little bigger than that, but
Very big prostitutes. I don't understand.
Ramsable brothel?
We do have brothels.
there's a specific page in one of the books that we were trying to read that our friend couldn't understand.
Okay.
And I was wondering if maybe we could be allowed.
No.
It could hold the very answer to everything.
It's possible. Our laws demand it. An hour for outsiders. If one of you was dragonkin, it would be different.
What is the criteria for becoming dragonkin?
Or one of your parents would have to be a dragon.
Or you can
Can't.
request kinship, can you not?
Sure. Kinship requires a lot.
What if we climb the mountain?
Climb the mountain.
I don't think that's feasible. What does it take
Which mountain?
to earn the right of...
The Cloudless Peak.
The No one can climb the mountain.
That isn't what we asked.
I think that's a...
If you summited the mountain and brought back something that would prove that, some knowledge from that, I think so.
Do you have any information?
do that.
Well, it's incredibly perilous, and if either Elenio or Egnir were to die
It would break
before
the
fulfilling
chain.
your promises, it would have severe consequences insofar as it pertains to the Treaty of Peace. However, I've long wondered what was above. I would give you 500 platinum and the ability to do commerce in Drossos if you summit and bring proof. And if you bring proof along with knowledge, that knowledge grants you access to our armorer, weaponsmith, enchanter, draconic spell books, and access to the Yundrushian teleportation runes. That is what kinship offers you. But you die.
Has anybody as strong as us tried?
I don't know. Many think they are strong. I did hear that you had a kerfuffle of sorts with some peons. Some lessers. I'm happy to hear that one of our heroes took down the leader. I'm glad they were there. I did hear that your fighting prowess was remarkable.
What otherwise would one have to do to get kinship?
Being married to a dragon helps. But it could only be him.
Hey, you want to have another political wedding?
That's
No!
not how it works.
It was a joke.
Can we talk it over?
I don't understand. This one equation could help us, help you, help everyone.
Or it could be nothing. It's not our custom.
Why would you limit yourself by custom? You can do anything you want.
I can. I am.
So you would hold back those that would help you?
I can go look at the equation whenever I want. We have mathematicians as well. It keeps me from nothing. I can ask Bavio what you looked at. We'll have that information.
You don't
If
think
someone
that...
has kinship, would they be allowed to take notes?
It's possible. But of course, you can do no commerce here.
That's fine.
The danger on the way to the peak, other than the madness, are there said to be creatures, or
gonna
is it just a
slap you.
general force?
You know he's not gonna be able to let it go.
We're not climbing it.
She's a coward. You should listen to the coward.
I'm not a coward.
Very brave coward.
I just know our limits, and I think that it's a poor decision. Especially
How
when we
many
have a peace
times-
treaty to uphold.
How many times have there been issues that seemed greater than our ability to surmount, but nonetheless we have come through?
I know, we've overcome pretty much everything in front of us, but...
The problem is no magic. No magic items.
I'm not saying that's not an issue, but
But then again, if our magic doesn't work,
if there are creatures up there, it's possible they would be at a similar disadvantage. We
Nothing
don't know.
natural lives up there. I have stood on the precipice between the zone that seems to keep me out due to my inherent magical body.
that'd be bad for.
And the air is very thin. We can provide you with warm clothing, but anything magical turns off.
How
It
long?
dispels immediately.
How long is it estimated the journey would take from
Or you can climb the inside of the mountain for some time before we have a door that leads to the... about a mile before the top. It's very high.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
Can you climb?
As much as I can do certain other things.
I feel like that's a big no, unless you make some sort of device that lets you climb without the use of magic.
It will be at 45,000 feet.
How high up was the nest?
25?
Oh, fuck.
Mount Everest is 29.
Yeah. Oh, that is my question.
Is it like a sheer thing that we actually have to...
You will have to climb. They can provide you with climbing shit, but yeah, it'd be a actual climb.
Then we have to withstand whatever mental issue that comes into play at the threshold there.
And no magical abilities work. Your feats would work. Your physical abilities would work. Any magical aspect to anything does not work. Your armor would work. It's soul bonded.
What about my... anything having to do with my race?
Your racial feats work.
Yeah, would
So I
he
could
be
still
okay?
heal with my racial feat?
Being a tiefling?
What do you mean?
Don't they have like magical blood or some shit like that?
So a dragon in this setting is inherently like magical to the core. Your features, if they offer some magic, can't be done. But say if your magical feat, like Elenia can cast light.
Yeah.
I can cast light and I can heal.
You couldn't cast light and you couldn't heal.
So all my blood hunter stuff would not work.
But like if you have dark vision, that'll work.
My blood hunter stuff won't work.
Nope. Your sorcerer stuff won't work. Your paladin
Mistral
stuff
obviously
won't
won't work.
What about...
Mistral can shoot arrows, but it won't be magical.
Yeah.
Like your Colossus Slayer might work, but your Hunter's Mark won't.
No. Can I still use laser on my one?
I could poke things at Solarion, but it wouldn't do much.
And it'll do piercing damage, not radiant or...
Wouldn't be able to do smites.
Nope.
I have a beating stick.
Yep. You can't shillelagh it, though.
Whatever's at the top.
It's-
Could also, no one's been up there since before he was born. That's very old.
1,500? Roughly?
If one of us
Yeah,
dies,
he's like 15 something.
one of us dies, we can literally reignite an entire war.
Well, the war's only been off for a day or so. People will be used to it.
So the good news is there's...
Your curiosity is going to get you or someone else killed one day.
So the
Possibly.
good news, only 2 of us have to survive.
The two...
We will get to choose which two.
Yeah.
You two.
So perhaps we should fulfill our parts of the treaty first.
Up to you guys.
And then we can commit suicide.
Waiting until at least after the wedding, and probably after your fight, would be reasonable. But I do think there is value to be had in the ability to go back into the library and look at things more freely than we are currently, and whatever knowledge may be.
I'm willing to
at the
come
time.
back after the fight.
Okay.
That's as much
Not
as I
our
can say.
decision.
I mean, once I get
It is
married,
not
I
our
could
place.
get expanded access to the library.
You will.
After we have fulfilled they have fulfilled their pieces of the treaty,
Mm.
would you permit us to return to attempt to climb the summit?
We don't usually permit like that. As you see, there's no one else that looks like you.
I got a feeling it's now or never.
Not necessarily, but I don't know when the next time we will open up will be. I would have to talk to my governors. We have to cast a vote. Since we were getting something out of it politically and monetarily and otherwise, the Dragon Lords superseded those votes.
And with this, they just lose.
I could unilaterally do so, but I have the faith to keep among my governors.
Ah, fuck.
I think it's an excellent opportunity while we have the chance.
You just have a curiosity that can't be sated
But what
when
if-
it's dangled in
what
front
if
of you.
This could this is
Everything we
not
need.
something that is just some. This isn't a
It's
coin on the
probably a
wall of a hag's
suicide-
shack that is. This is very specifically something that will help us.
It's probably a suicide mission.
is jumping
Assessing
in-
our
Most of the
ability
things
right
we do
now.
are
So is
suicide missions.
Going underneath the nest and fighting that tempest.
I
that was a
believed in our
suicide
ability
mission.
then.
No, that was pretty easy.
Yeah. To be fair.
To be fair, most things we've done so far have been easy.
What?
Except
Literally got smashed.
Except for that
It
Kraken.
died.
Except
Yeah.
for that
Your
Kraken
brother died.
fight. That Kraken fight was rough. Not Kraken, Hydra fight.
I think we faced tougher things than a mountain.
We don't know
Killed Crosley.
what hit.
For the record, your friends won't be permitted back regardless.
Understandable.
Looking at Caston and Vel.
Yeah.
I mean, just think though, if we do it, we have access to most of Drossos. We have access to the entire library, possibly.
I can't guarantee you when, but I can probably get you back in here if you leave. But 6 of you is better than 4.
I think now is the opportune time.
Kasdan, Val, thoughts?
Vel's down.
Because he wants to protect me.
I didn't get to read a single book.
So, if you die, you're fine. I take it.
I want to read a book. I don't want to climb this mountain. But I want to read a book. What if there's books up there? We can read those without anyone watching us.
We could buy you a book.
From where? I want to read a dragon book.
Yes, Gygax has books about dragons.
All the libraries blew up. That's a lie. I'm just mad. The big library. To be fair, the Citadel library did blow up. That's true. A lot of lost knowledge there. But the elves have some libraries as well, but it's not a dragon library. How many people get to read dragon books?
Oh my god.
We've barely scratched the surface as far as what.
Vel is over here like, I'll do whatever you want me to do. We can
If
go.
it's any
we can
consolation,
stay.
my dragon book was useless.
We can always come back. Calm down about the dragon book. You calm down. Calm all the time. I'm always calm. are weird.
He's pretty calm all the time, Captain.
You two were made for each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to die in a mountain, but
I don't either.
Why is everyone going straight to dying on the mountain? Just because
That's
everyone
what
else
people
has
do.
died because when they tried to climb the
Goodness.
mountain...
Dragons tried to climb it and
Not
can't.
We've killed a dragon! That's a fact!
Sorry, 2 dies in hypothermia.
No offense, I say to Sylvain. You've killed people before.
I've killed more dragons than you.
Fair enough.
What was the oldest dragon that tried to climb?
The oldest dragon? No dragons can climb. Dragonkin can.
See? Not even a full dragon.
Well, full dragons are magic inherent. We
Yeah.
can't pass the barrier.
What happens? Do you, like...
It just
Hit it?
doesn't let us pass. It
Just like-
shunts you backwards.
Okay. Like a force field type deal.
Like dimension dooring into a wall.
Okay.
But all of the dragonkin and stuff that have tried to climb have come back, either not come back, killed themselves, or come back with madness.
Not all of them. Some of them come back to tell the tale of their friends with madness, yeah. No one's made it to the top. They say there's an orb. A white.
I could just see the gears clicking in the
A white
professor.
orb.
I vote we climb the mountain.
Of course you do.
When he mentions the white orb, that might have been what you saw, that glint. You can't tell, though.
Good news, if one of us goes mad and we still survive and bring everybody back, maybe the Sig can fix us.
6 fucking crazy.
That's a bold
What are you talking
assumption.
about?
Considering he couldn't fix your
Or
girlfriend's
maybe our-
mental, like, curse. Okay?
That's a little...
Sig can't
That's a
just...
That's a fresh wound.
Sig can't
Let's
just
not-
make your
Yeah, I wanna
brain
climb the
better.
mountain.
Everyone
You
who's
want to climb the mountain? That's what you said?
Egdir, how do you feel about this mountain climbing?
I think we should anyways.
I'll climb the mountain if you guys are climbing the mountain. I don't.
Of course.
Val's gonna follow me.
I mean, I just want to read a book. I don't care how we do it. If they don't want to go, I don't want to go, but I want to go
Even
if
if
they want to
it's-
go.
Like,
Don't make me choose between you
the
guys.
possibilities
You
of,
know I'm biased.
the possibility of what could be up there for saving
knows?
the world.
I know this reaction. We're about to win.
You know what? Maybe it wasn't a good thing that Lathander cast me out and you guys became my friends because I'm starting to second guess that.
See, maybe the mountain will kill you. We all win.
Or you could be thrown off the mountain, and in your madness, you'll leave the area of the magic barrier, and you'll be able to cast crazy spells when your brain is melted. Who knows what your crazy self might cast? Although, maybe you wouldn't. If your brain's melted, maybe you wouldn't know that you need to cast spells to save your life.
Alright,
It's
let's-
very strange.
You need to convince me right now why this is a good decision.
Because we can't do it without you.
How will you feel if we attempt to do this and we die and you're not there?
Wow,
I
that
said
is
convince
so
me
manipulative.
that it's
You didn't say how to convince you. You didn't say convince you with rational arguments.
not to play with my emotion.
That's all I have. I can't come up with a logical reason to climb this fucking mountain. But we're gonna do it. Because we are friends, and that is what friends do.
It's like if your friends jump off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge?
Yes! I have literally done that.
Are you
Yes!
serious?
It's a short bridge.
Why do you give in to peer pressure? And now you're the one inflicting it.
Vicious circle, peer pressure.
man, they're so perfect for each other. Holy shit.
So mountain, how about we climb it? We just won't die. That's all. It's one thing. It's very not difficult. Just don't die.
Agnir, how do you feel about this?
About the possibility of dying, rather ambivalent. Well, we do have obligations to keep.
But
Good
He's a
news.
responsible
Good news.
man.
If we all die, we won't know what happens.
In the afterlife, we will.
That's debatable. You've been to
The planes of existence that our souls will go to will be destroyed by whatever's about to eat them.
and then we won't know anything after that, so that's cool.
Yeah, and then we'll remember nothing. I mean, I think.
One could make the argument it's almost better.
No. Because you didn't get to read a book.
There's probably books there, right?
Wrong
The
with all
afterlife?
of you.
Yeah.
Probably.
They have books there?
Why are you asking me?
They have books there? Oh god, she's ignoring me. I don't know. I don't really like books that much, really, but it's dragon books. There's information. Daggers and elven politics. What the hell?
What else do you need?
Well, other stuff too, but I just like it was pointed at me, and I couldn't do anything. Do you know how impulsive I am?
Mm-hmm. He did hold it back, which is pretty impressive.
I just think if we climb this mountain, it'll be very helpful to our cause. It'll get us in good graces with these fine, scaly people, and it'll be a good bonding experience.
Bonding.
If we get supplied with everything, climbing gear, warm clothes so we don't freeze to death. I don't know if we're gonna need any kind of way to help us breathe, but magical items aren't gonna help us at that point, so. Fine. Don't.
It's like convincing your mom
Don't.
to let you go out at night past your curfew.
Thanks, Mom. We'll do it.
All right.
So.
You're probably very confused.
Not really. I kind of got the gist. We can outfit you with cold weather clothing and climbing gear. Do you need other things? If they're non-magical, we will provide them.
Rations.
Yeah.
It's only an hour to the top or so after
Okay.
the door, but
Just in
once
case.
you get to the barrier where it gets tough.
Yeah.
Torches won't burn there. Take calm breaths. You should be fine. Until whatever it is they talk about comes after you.
Can we have assurance of some medical assistance should any of us make it down and need help, I guess?
We could have one of our clerics on the edge.
That would be reassuring.
Just don't fall off.
They will be ordered not to go with you. And he'll probably make a tiny hut or something.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Sure.
Have a couple of hours.
I need you to cast sending for me
Me too.
before we
Actually-
do this.
Okay.
Send spells.
Yes.
Oh yeah, can we not do it here either? Does it prevent?
We would like to talk to
I also have
people.
a sending stone that I would like to use.
You can make communications in your apartment tonight. Nothing else until you're outside of the doors. Then I don't care what you do. Tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Might even teach you one of my spells. I've been working on some. Depends on what information you bring me back. I'll give you each one. You can all cast, right?
I can.
Yeah.
Wait,
We should probably have, in case there's parchments or anything, to write it down while we're up there. So, paper.
I'll teach it after you get back.
Well, not that.
No, talking
To write
about
down
any
knowledge if we
information
have
if
to.
there's
Oh,
something.
don't you have these types of things?
I have paper
Yugi
and
is
quills
funny.
and ink and everything.
Just make sure we got all the basics.
Your
covered.
ink may freeze. I don't know if there's an indoors up there.
What if you keep it in a bag of holding?
That
Bag
should
of
be
holdings
fine.
don't work. Do that.
Oh,
No, that's true. You will lose connection to your bag of holding.
So inside will just be a normal bag. Okay.
What if you just
We should definitely take out.
It
Oh no.
should retether once you cross back over the threshold. I've actually never tried that.
maybe I should leave the bag here and just take what we
It's
need.
possible. I would.
Oh, that's gonna die soon. Potions as alchemy, does that count as magic? Even though
Potions do. Potions are magic.
it's... Fuck. Okay.
No healing potions. You can't take med kits and make medicine checks.
I'll do that. Yeah, I need
I actually
a
have
supply
plus-
of
do you have the
medicine.
feat?
Medicine. No, but I have high
Okay.
medicine
Then
skills.
you can't heal. You can stabilize.
say I have +5 medicine.
I have proficiency in everything.
Short rests still work though.
All right. I think this will be good. This will be.
Being able to stabilize it would be helpful though, so I'll still take med kits to do that.
Okay, they'll supply all of these things.
Maybe going without magic for a mission will be character
How many
building.
sendings can you cast?
It's the clock.
I mean, assuming we're doing it tonight, as many as
Good,
one, I guess. As long as
because
they
I'm
permit.
probably gonna need to send a lot.
Oh boy!
This is what you get.
That's
You
a fair.
put me on a suicide mission. You're my telephone now.
That's a fair trade. It feels like death. So
Being her telephone.
yeah.
No.
Okay. We can end it right there, and you can do your sending and stuff at the beginning of the session next time. So next time, it looks like we're going on a no magic journey. Don't you wish one of you was a fighter or a barbarian?
Or anything that's not magical. I mean, a little bit, but
Gunslinger.
It's a good thing my
bad,
constitution score is still high.
Too bad you don't have your gunslinger.
that's fair. We'd be shitting on everything if we had him.
Oh.
If we have to fight anything.
Good times, good times.
Do magical weapons stay their plus or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a craftsmanship thing.
But Mistral, will that still be a +3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It just won't do the stuff it does. So, very interesting. Lots of information.
I hate you so much.
I want to die.
You're
Next time
such
will
a
be-
little shit.
Next time will be very interesting.
2 weeks.
2 weeks? Oh yeah, because Alex isn't here this weekend.
And Alex is
Are you
trash.
free anytime before when you leave? What day?
Thursday?
Thursday. Are you free Tuesday or Wednesday?
No.
Tomorrow or Wednesday?
Yeah.
I work both days.
So when?
Wednesday is 12 to 9:30,
Mm-hmm.
and Tuesday I think I work till 8.
8. Tuesday is till 8.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to do Hugo's one shot tomorrow, would you?
I could.
Oh, I'm so
Not if we're
excited.
starting at 8 or after 8.
I mean, I could get out early.
my
I could
God.
Get out early.
Why not?
Because that's late, and I'm already gonna be nervous about doing
What
it.
if I get out of work by 6? We start at 6:30.
Probably not.
How early would I
Okay,
have?
we'll just push it back until
Forever.
there's something.
No, it's not gonna be Space Jam 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Okay, right now it's just regular Space Jam.
Okay.
So, Space Jam, to be determined. But we do have a giveaway.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Un giveaway?
Uno momento.
So, what you guys can do here for some giveaway?
Make sure you guys enter.
Only type it one time or it will disqualify you. The keyword is books. BOOKS
I'll talk like this.
for a starter set to D&D 5th edition. It comes with a 64-page adventure book with everything the Dungeon Master needs to get started, a 32-page rulebook for playing characters levels 1 through 5, 5 pre-generated characters, each with a character sheet and supporting reference material, 6 game dice. The 64-page adventure book is The Minds of Fandelver. It's a really cool beginner guide. You will have fun with this. It'll teach you how to DM. It'll teach you how to play. If you haven't done so, gonna be a good time. You can give it to a friend. Last call, BOOKS, books.
While we're waiting, shout out to Jack Saint for rating us earlier with 40 people.
Jack Saint did?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Jack.
It was like hours ago, so I don't know if he's still around, but...
Oh, dope. Well, I appreciate it. All right. Newspapers, articles, magazines, novels. Solid. Roll it!
Planes, trains, and...
Wow, the winner is Frenic31. Frenic31 here all the time. You have won the starter set. So, send me a private message here on Twitch so that I can make sure that you are you and that you get what you need. I need, according to the mail lady, I need your Christian name. Or Beatrice at the local fucking post office is gonna throw a fucking fit. Okay, so I need your real name and your address, and I will send it to you.
People address fake names all the time.
I know.
I've sent
and
things
she's
to
like,
people's
"Are you
not
sure
real."
that person is named whatever the fuck the name was?" And we're like, "Yep, that's their name." Okay, because if it isn't their name, it won't show up. They totally got their shit. But yeah,
It was Sliggy T.
I don't want to hear that fucking hag person ever bitch at me again about that. So, post office people are so except for that one super.
And she's not there anymore. I never see her.
How do I do on Twitch? It's a whisper. Just whisper me.
Or Discord.
Or Twitter or anything.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I want to know it's Frenic31.
Oh yeah, that's
fair.
true.
So just whisper me. If I click on you and open a whisper, and I go and I type in the word whisper, it popped up. Look, I whispered you. So just reply to that whisper, and you will win the thing. Hopefully you live in the U.S. or Canada, so I have to spend $50 sending this to you. But either way, I appreciate you. That's it. Next time we will climb to the top of a mountain without our magic. Due to peer pressure. Hey.
And manipulation.
I like that. I like that shit. That's the kind of stuff I like.
You guys aren't
Put a
my
hook in front of you,
friends.
let you guys argue it out. Who cares? I don't care. I'll prep whatever the fuck you want me to prep. You guys want to die in a mountain? I want you to die in a mountain. That's what I like. Alright. So,
Make sure you roll backup characters.
also,
I'll just use the one from Hugo's one shot since it won't be seen anywhere.
Whoa! The Ballad of Da Big is coming out. That'll be my one shot. The Ballad of Da Big. Y'all get to play giants.
Alright.
That actually be kind of fun. Anyway, you guys have a good night.
F in chat for Baronold.
What's that?
F
Can we
and
get an F in chat for Baronold?
Yes.
F in chat for Baronold, please. Baronold Da Big. That sad boy. He was kind of a creep, but that's okay.
F in chat for the incel giant.
Incel giant, fuck. Alright, you guys have a wonderful night. I love you deeply. Oh, this will be up on Unpop. On the YouTube. If you just missed halfway, or you can watch the VOD right after, whether you follow or not. You should follow and subscribe and all the good stuff. I love you deeply.